of nutraceuticals in the country, and I did deals with all three of them.
Hey guys, how you guys doing? I'm sorry, I'm actually studying on a rush. I just woke up from a little bit of a nap.
Companies are supplying like a third of the stuff Whole Foods, just so you know. And so that's why our stuff is so good. And plus, it's got to be bulletproof with the government coming after us, how they harass supplement makers. I want it to be great quality for everybody. I want you to come back. I want you to get a good deal. I want to be treated like I treat other people. It's like revolutionary. No, that's what built America, folks. All I'm doing is just like he did, going back and reading history books by people that actually built this country, like Booker T. Washington and others. It goes on and on and on. And the innovation of hybrid crops and modern developments came from people that were oppressed in this country, black Americans. And again, I'm not pushing oppression. The point is, open oppression makes you stronger. You should smash it. But what we're being killed by is all this largesse, how easy everything's gotten, and then not being aware. Now, I want to take phone calls, 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. R.W. Bray, rwbray.com. He is the Black Engagement Director of the Republican Party of Texas. He's a military veteran and a patriot, and we appreciate him he's currently a Master Sergeant serving as First Sergeant Guardsman and proud veterans advocate in Houston, Texas. And a lot of other community stuff for children, you name it, the MLK Association, Vice Chair of Texas. I'm going to stop right there. That's another thing, MLK, a Republican. It goes on and on. But give us your greatest hits. I mean, what's really powerful, what folks need to know, sir, and what Trump needs to do to win, what we need to do to win.
Strategically, I think Trump needs to make sure that he has advocates and surrogates in North Carolina, Wisconsin, PA, Michigan. Reason why is because, number one, that's the Rust Belt. Number two, places like Ohio, where you have a significant black population who are waiting for an answer. Their neighborhoods are being torn apart by bitter rivalries, whether that's through gangs or whether that's just a simple fact that people are living in poverty, they are fed up, and they are overreacting and reacting by killing their own. That is a consequence of the Democrat lead. Think about this, Alex. 50 council members in Chicago, 49 of which are Democrat, 1 Republican. And you look across the nation, wherever there's Democrats in leadership, there's a failing municipality. And that's because there are some ideologies
because they're satanic.
I would agree.
Sorry.
I would agree, but there are some ideologies that work and there's some that don't. The thing about Republican ideologies is that they are timeless, traditional. They've always worked, they always will, provided we remember. And the fact of the matter is that humans often have a bad habit of losing memory.
I agree. Those that don't know history don't repeat it. Please continue.
Yeah. Well, one of the ways that we're jabbing at this thing, and I gotta say this, I really love your Hillary shirt. I have a good friend of mine, Carl Maniola, came to the Trump rally with me. We almost got kicked out because they didn't read the thing. But when they finally read it,
no, it's a great conversation starter. Exactly.
Yeah. They finally read it and they allowed them to come in. But I think that agitating the current status quo, like your shirt, it agitates people. We need to continue to agitate people verbally, though, and that's the problem. There aren't enough black surrogates. If Trump wants to make a dent.
Well, exactly. In fact, that shows how sophisticated you are, because I barely even realized it when I did it. I always have the idea, and then I see the thinking behind it later. It's like my brain just knows. I wanted it to cause debates.
That's right.
Cause discussions.
That's right.
And say Hillary for president. That's our campaign.
Yes.
And then it's really caught on. But please continue.
Well, that's what Frederick Douglass stood for. Frederick Douglass, the very first father of the civil rights movement, stood for 3 things. You see, number 1, he stood for economic independence. Number 2, social and business collaboration. And number 3,
collaboration. Frederick Douglass on screen. That guy, he'd be a movie star today. And that guy just looks so cool. Sorry.
Yes. And number 3, his last one was agitation. Agitation. One of the last things that he said in his last speech, a young black man at a university asked him, as a young black man, what should I be doing? He says, agitate, agitate, agitate. And what I see in InfoWars, what I see in people like Trump and yourself and others that I come across the nation is that we are ready. Political agitation has moved the needle.
Yeah, what you're saying is we're not trying to play in the corrupt system. We're changing it. We're not trying to play by their rules and go along with it. We're expanding the entire paradigm.
That's right. And what better place to start than Texas? The RPT is doing powerful things. We're going to areas that no other state is going. We're getting calls that no other state is calling. And when you think about that,
they rewrote Ron Paul's district over and over again. They kept rewriting it for Democrats in black areas, thinking, and then he won by even bigger landslides.
That's right.
Because people go meet him. He's just a sweet, loving doctor that had been like, volunteering 3 days a week for decades at poor hospitals.
That's right.
And this is a guy who literally would volunteer 2 or 3 days a week at poor hospitals.
That's right.
Because for no money.
That's right.
Because he believed it. And of course, he's racist Ron Paul, though.
Well, most people believe that common sense isn't common these days, but the truth is that it is. People know common sense when they see it. They see earnestness. They see a man with the correct heart. They see a person who has passion, and they will gravitate toward it. If Trump continues to make sure that he goes into these black neighborhoods, regardless of whatever the media is saying, continue to go, because I'm in those black neighborhoods. Yeah, and they like it. They like the fact that finally someone is coming into those neighborhoods and talking. And that's how we're going to
Meanwhile,
Obama, it's all there. Research it.
Had vacations like 100 days.
I've been actually wanting to finish my empire.
Louisiana, and gets away with it. I mean, I'm not defending Bush. He had some problems, big time. But he some problems with Katrina response. At least he responded. They don't even show up. Hillary doesn't even care. It's like.
Well, I had a show lifting the veil until the liberals got mad. It was in Houston, and they killed this show. It was called Lifting the Veil off of Booker T. Washington. It was amazing.
Over radio?
Over radio.
Oh, yeah, they kill shows.
Oh, yeah.
We get knocked off all the time. They'll come and say, $300,000, take him off.
Yeah, they're good at it. But one thing that really I touched on was that if Obama really cared for African Americans, or the current administration period, we had one opportunity to get a Supreme Court judge, and a Latino was appointed. We had another one, and the LGBT was appointed. Even his third choice that he tried to come was not a black person. So a lot of people in the black neighborhoods are starting to see that this guy never was going to make our lives better. And the truth is that you can't depend on the government to make your life better. Only you can do that.
Plus, to use the analogy, I mean, it's being pimped. I already got you. I don't need you.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, hey, boom.
It's a given. It's about time that we start listening to our ancestors. X talked about not trusting liberals. One of the greatest quotes he ever said was, keep in mind that a Dixiecrat is nothing more than a Democrat in disguise. He talked about the fact that one party we had been invested in has abandoned us. That it was a racist from the beginning, and it will always be racist. MLK warned us of not judging men by his color and not his content. You got blacks who won't join the Republican Party simply because there's a lot of white people in it.
And let's explain. It creates a self-fulfilling prophecy where they say the Tea Party's racist, and so then minorities who are majorities in this area don't go. And what the real racism is the media pushing that, but then what's happening on the Trump phenomenon, I want you to speak to this because it's documented. Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, others are going, and they're absolutely being appreciated by everybody, and they're like, wow, this is incredible, and people are coming together. It's very cathartic. I've seen people crying.
That's right.
I mean, this is crazy. So again, they create the perception, which makes it the reality.
Oh, yeah. We have modern-day abolitionists right now. People who brave. People of different colors going into those neighborhoods saying, come with me to this. Come with me to see Hillary's America. Come with me to watch this. And they're learning. That there was a black woman who was at the Trump rally who was brought by two white friends, and she was right up front. I thought that was amazing. So there are modern-day abolitionists, but more importantly, I believe this is the rebirth of a second Reconstruction. W.E. Du Bois even said that he wished that the Reconstruction had finished its mark. It never finished what it was supposed to do. Now it has an opportunity to do that. Republicans need to wake up and know.
Well, they got hijacked by a lot of corruption when Lincoln got killed.
Well, obviously, yeah. You cut off the head of the snake, right?
Yeah. All I know is I don't know how Trump gets blamed for being in the KKK when 20 years ago and 10 years ago, by himself he decried David Duke. And then meanwhile Hillary's like kissing all over Robert Byrd, the KKK wizard. I mean, it's just, you can't make this up. I mean, it's just.
No, and I think another thing is just to add something to it. The black community has finally woke up to Margaret Sanger and her lies. You know, we have a population that is declining in the black neighborhood. When you consider 120 years ago, black population made up 30, we're at 12 to 13% now. So over a century and a half, we only make up 13%.
Oh, I know. That's the fundamental where I'm told you're racist because you don't want Black Lives Matter and George Soros trying to turn black people into racists. So that, like, there was a big study out last week. I meant to cover it. I didn't get into it. Major university study. Can you guys pull it up? Diversity programs actually make things less diverse and hurt minority communities. Absolutely.
Yes.
You turn Hispanics and black people into basically KKK versions for minority groups, hopping up and down. Truly
been done
real
since the
progressive
90s.
business owners, don't care what color they are, don't want trouble.
Maybe
And
before
they're
I
just, all of a
could
sudden, they're
even
not
have
racist, they're scared.
selection.
And people are looking like chips. I mean, the worst thing about spoiled kids, and we've all got them, you know, nowadays in the society, is that they always think there's a chip on their shoulder and you did something to them. And that's part of maturity, is getting past having a chip on your shoulder. And they're just trying to install chips on people's shoulders, like it's a degree or something, when all it is an anchor around your neck.
And speaking of anchors, the anchor institutions, black anchor institutions like NAACP, are now fighting against charter schools and academies. P. Diddy actually just created a charter school in New York. The NAACP is going to be trying to fight to kill it. Nationwide, it is now mandated.
And good for P. Diddy.
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna help people that want to get out of this hell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if they don't know how to teach our children, then why not get a retired superintendent, retired teachers in the area, and create a charter school and teach those kids in a way that the liberal whites are failing? Why is that bad? The truth is that the Democrat Party wants to corral African Americans and minorities into one area so they can control them.
Absolutely. I want to go to Tony and Carl and Mike and Alex and David, others. We've only got 5 minutes in the next segment, then 5 minutes more before the next hour starts. And who do we have taking over today in the 4th hour? David Knight will always be doing a great job. So much to cover. They're launching massive censorship initiatives. The Drudge is covering, drudge4.com. YouTube's new terms of service just says if you're an extremist, we're going to take your monetization away. That's economic gulags. Okay, that's what Hitler and the ghettos. I mean, this is a major move. It's the Chinese social credit model, and Drudge is covering all that. Paul Watson's article. But let's take a phone call before we go to break. Like, I just can't help it. I'm going to skip this network break, even though it costs us like $5,000. I'm doing it because I need to just have more time here. So callers realize that. Let's go ahead and talk to Tony. He says he's an NBC whistleblower. I was calling for whistleblowers a few days ago, and some called in to talk about the atmosphere with this unified press environment, which Assange is just like, this is like totalitarianism. This is the unified BS. Really shameful, quite frankly, and frightening. Tony, go ahead.
Hey, thank you, Alex. Been a long listener. It's about 2009.
He meant to say a long time ago.
And, you know, back since 9/11, I started to realize that something wasn't right. So I seen a documentary, what was it called? Loose Change. And I started to see things.
Since they killed Kennedy, man.
You know, I just
they
felt
did
like
the same thing here in Mexico.
Given both sides. So as I became producer on a weekend newscast and the anchor, you know, I started adding little bits to the story and giving my sources, and then we had high ratings. I mean, it was incredible, to the point where they didn't know why. So the viewers started emailing in, and then they were like, you know, he's got this information. So I get called into the office, and they say, hey, you need to stop putting this stuff into the stories because, you know, it's not approved by NBC. And I'm like, well, it's, you know, we have to share both sides of the story, so I think it's good journalism. Isn't that what we studied? They're like, no, it's coming from NBC. You just put it in the way it is. Don't change it. And I said, okay. I said, but, you know, we're going to lose ratings. I mean, you need to look at that. I mean, people love this information. Look, you're just being told don't do it. All right. So
absolutely. I mean, I want to hear the rest of your story, but for folks that don't know, local so-called news, and I want to change this while we're launching a TV system. I've been so busy fighting other fights, I haven't quite got that launch yet, but it's happening, folks. And it always, you know, good times seems to be in God's plan. But everybody should just put out their own news. It's inexpensive now to do it compared to what it was, so that stations, UHF, VHF, cable, have a choice and don't just spew, because it comes down in talking points. They load the teleprompter. It looks like your local trusted news person is more trusted than national. Let's say 50% trusted local versus 6% national. But really, your local person is really a national repeater. And so you're witnessing people want both sides, or 3 or 4 sides. They want it. It makes your ratings go up, but the media is still willing to kill itself to be able to maintain the political control, because they're not in the business of making money at the news level. They're in the business of making money for the larger global agenda and massive trillion-dollar banker bailouts. But finish the rest of the story. I apologize.
That's okay. No, and then, you know, the funny thing is I heard one of your other callers yesterday talking about, you know, you're trying to bring stories to the newsroom. You know, people just, you know, they look at you like you're crazy, like, you know, you're one of those nuts. And I said, no, look, here's information, here's documentation, this is important stuff. So they're like, then you get labeled. So then you're kind of labeled in the newsroom, and you're kind of an outcast. So they thought the best way to, help me not put out the message was to put me on a morning show and make it fun. Yeah, he's got a good personality,
Sir, that's a handbook. When they walked in at Shamrock Communications, had the #1 show in talk radio, period, in Austin. After 3 years on air, I'm 25 years old. I'm making them tons of money. And they said, you're going to do an entertainment show now in the morning or we're going to fire you. And I said, I can't stop it. 6 weeks later, they fired me with pleasure. And they said, because you're talking bad about Bill Clinton. Now, I'd already started my other shows.
What happened? Oh, great. I'm not making the same mistake as yesterday. But I'm glad I'm actually sharing a little bit of what's in here and in here. Because when it comes down to it, wait, did I just go to the main menu? Oh, shoot. No.
Greetings upon thee, your Imperial Majesty Catherine,
Take
wondrous
care.
Empress of all the Russias. At your command lies the largest country.
Okay, can I like...
Mighty Russia stretches from the Pacific Ocean in the east, the Baltic Sea in the west.
What the
Despite
hell?
wars, droughts, and every manner of disaster, the heroic Russian people survive and prosper. Their artists
Dude.
and scientists among the best in the world. The empire today...
Okay, I have no idea what's going on, guys. Here, let me share this with you really quick. It just died. It's dead. My internet is still functioning. It's still going. I'm still live. I've only been sharing 16 minutes with you. I always watch the news, and I share it with you guys. Well,
Shamrock Communications had the #1 show in talk radio, period,
No
in Austin.
clue what just
After
happened.
3 years on air, I'm 25 years old. I'm making them tons of money. And they said, you're going to do an entertainment show now in the morning or we're going to fire you. And I said, I can't stop it. 6 weeks later, they fired me with pleasure. And they said, because you're talking bad about Bill Clinton. Now, I'd already started my other show, so it didn't matter. But I have experience where you're going to do entertainment now, buddy. Do you understand? Or next, you're fired. Please continue.
So then it was right around the time.
1 second, I'm trying to fix it. God, I'm gonna have to buy a new cable. Look at this. See that? See that? Oh my God, it's just making a horrible sound. There it goes, there it goes, there it goes. Okay. Back to our normal routines.
The NDAA was signed, and it was in the
remains
newscast,
one of the
which I
strongest
didn't
ever
produce.
seen in human...
I could only add the promos and the teases, and then I figured, well, since I can't really put it in the script, well, here's an opportunity. We're going to go to a two-shot. So you go to the two-shot and say, hey, a lot of folks don't really know what that stands for, what those acronyms mean. And then I explained a little bit about it, and then she just kind of looked at me, my co-anchor, and just, I don't know, you're getting information. I'm like, well, it's out there. Here's a copy of it.
That's how brainwashed. They don't even want you to say National Defense Authorization Act. Like having info is now like evil. Oh, he's informed. You're not allowed to.
Oh my
NBC
God.
From New York.
Why
sends it,
can't
and
you
we
be
just say it.
smart?
He's talking on his own.
I want you to
We
be
can't
smart.
have that. See, it's
I want to be
programming,
smart.
folks.
We should
Teleprompters
all want to
down
be
to
smart.
us.
That's right.
And when Trump,
I want to be out there
is
just
forced
like-
to use one because it's his actual speech. That's fine. But when he's attacking it, he's saying, "Look, it's script written.
Dog.
It's coming down to them." So
nobody
let me guess.
cares
What
about
happened
this.
next?
Well, I just I
Never
was no
mind.
longer in the circle, and I was kind of an outcast. And I could just feel the pressure from beneath me, because when you make your way to that position, there's everybody on the bottom just gunning it just to put you out or to get you off. So I was no longer invited to the parties, and, you know, I'd leave the newsroom and I'd come back.
First they ostracize, then they dehumanize you, because they don't want to actually fire their friend. They have to learn to hate you first, because they're cowards, number one. So how did it end?
Well, it was about just, you know, a couple of months into my second year, they decided to let me go. I was kind of having some health issues, so I went to the doctor, and, you know, I almost passed out. So they were giving me checks and everything. They say, hey, look, don't go to work. And they figured, well, maybe the morning show isn't for you. It's too early. So I presented that to my bosses, and they delayed me coming back. And then before you know it, I get a letter saying I'm gone. And, you know, there's like 30 reasons why you could be let go. Like if you're a kid and you're suspended from school, you're suspended because you bit or you spit on somebody. But in this case, it was a general term for like just general, you know, misconduct.
Got it.
And then I
well, listen, brother, I got to jump, but thank you for your testimony. We want to get more of those testimonies. God bless you, Tony, because that's what goes on behind the scenes. Where we had newspaper reporters on about this, and they're just like, yeah, we all get in a room and they go, we're going to lie about Trump, just make stuff up, everybody go get him. I mean, they don't even... Assange is a real liberal, you know, like a really person I respect. He actually is a liberal, not a KKK person masquerading as a liberal. He's like, this press climate, we're all in danger. Hillary is a monster. I mean, it's like, why is it's so shameful to see this level of control, and they're only destroying themselves in the process.
Yeah, and the foundation is an example of how corruption just breeds more corruption. You would think you're the third most important person in America, and you still want to be more corrupt. You have no reason to be corrupt. But it's so much more out there to that, and I think as far as the black population and minorities, period, I think they see that, and I think that they don't want to vote for a crook, and they'll probably vote for Donald Trump.
Well, sure, and in a lot of polls he's way ahead, but those are the scientific polls, the big fake ones they put out, where they had 15% more.
Come on.
Reuters admits they had 15% more Democrats at the poll, and then Hillary's winning by 15 points.
No.
I mean, you know, it's like but because they put the methodology out, it's like it's okay. Oh, we stacked the deck. We admit we do, so it's all right. Mm-hmm. What? No,
it's not a true. The only way you know that the true vision is looking at it under unadulterated lenses is if you're on the ground. And I'm on the ground, brother. And I'm in the hood. No mistaking. And these individuals are walking around talking about I'm gonna vote for Trump. And it has very little to do with what it is that they can get from him.
Fucking say
they've been waiting
what
for.
the
They've
fuck,
been
man?
for a change and a growth. They didn't get that from the previous administration, and they feel abandoned by the current administration. And so they're going to do whatever they can to.
That's what I'm seeing on the streets. I mean, I would say half the black people I talk to say they like Trump, but they're almost embarrassed. Like, well, Alex, I can tell you, but you know, my neighbors don't like it, and so I think if people just get past this fear and come out of the closet.
That's right. That's right. And I talked about that, you know, in the speech, and I'm hoping that Donald Trump will bring more black surrogates at these rallies so that you can dispel the myth that blacks aren't coming out. And I'm not talking about like entertainment, you know, Alex. I'm talking about giving a real speech to people. That's what the kind of surrogate he needs out there right now.
Absolutely. He needs to absolutely hammer the daylights out of the globalist. The problem is a lot of times he does, the media doesn't cover it.
Yeah.
So we have to get the videos, we have to get the raw stuff,
right.
We have to put it out, like Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com and DrudgeReport.com are doing. And that's why they say they want to censor Trump. You know, I mean, these fake debate coming up where he's back-to-back with Hillary, but then he doesn't get to ask her questions. That's not a debate.
No, she's been quiet with 260 days now.
Listen, I really believe she's got serious health problems, and the word is brain tumor. The brain tumor was removed back in 2012, and then it's growing back. So that's why she is not looking too hot. That's the word, brain tumor. We'll be back.
You are listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Hope she gets right with Jesus. The answer is InfoWar. The answer is reclaiming our basic roots and what works for a civilization. Responsibility, discipline, pride, honor, strength, courage. And people are desperate for it like a man underwater wants oxygen. I'm desperate for it. The New World Order wants to make us weak so they can rule us. I say folks that act like that are the ones that are weak. We're going to go to some more of your phone calls here. I am really honored to have our W. Bray, rwbray.com. He's the Black Engagement Director of the Republican Party of Texas. And it is exciting to see the Patriot Liberty Movement taking over the Republican Party. He's got its own share of problems, but this revolution of Trump taking the party over, they may try to take it back, but they are, you know what, in their britches.
Yes. I'm happy for the RPT. Republican Party of Texas is finally growing up. We're doing things that no other state is doing, and I love the fact that it's coming out of Texas. I really do.
I'm proud of Texas. Texas always has that cliche of growing up, you rebel against whatever you've been told is great. But I mean, now that I've grown up and know my parents and grandparents, and Texas isn't perfect, but compared to a lot of other places in the world, whatever, it is true. Like, original Texans I knew were just, no matter what color they were just honorable, straight shooting,
right,
and tough.
That's right.
Texas is at the head of the resistance. That's what Obama calls me, the man from Texas. And I love the fact he won't say my name. He goes, you know, that's out of Texas. And the media's like, whoa. It's almost better. It's like the name they won't say. Actually, I can feel the eye of Sauron looking at me, though. This is quite a responsibility. These people are bad news. That's why I joke about it. Let's go ahead and talk to Mike in Minnesota. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex. Thanks for having me on the show. I literally just started listening, love it. But commenting on the whole charter schools and diversity that you guys spoke about earlier, I went to one of the largest high schools in Minnesota and was publicly funded, and we had diversity programs everywhere. And as we got older into school, the more divided it came. We had groups where...
It's admit to do it. They go, they're failing in all the university studies. It's getting worse. It's designed to make us all racist, crazy people. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, and it would be divided up so that the Somalian refugees would be on the east end, the African Americans would be on the west. Nobody really came together, and we were in elementary school.
Wow.
That's how you run a prison. It's prison management. They're just putting us all in groups.
Yeah, definitely, no question.
And the teachers, everybody don't want to do it. They're just they're like, why is this so horrible? Because it's designed to be.
That is a sad reality. You know, I had a conversation with Tom Meckler, who's the chairman of the RPT, and we talked about how the answer to compete with these failing ISDs and this, like you said, the separation, is to make sure you have charter schools and academies to challenge it. I can't remember any institution that deserves a monopoly over education. And the way they do it is that they corral people.
Absolutely.
Blacks are here, the Latinos are here, the whites are here. That doesn't encourage anyone to work together.
And then they act like it's desegregation when all they do is throw people together and then divide them even worse.
Yes.
I mean, they know, and this is some slick stuff.
Yeah, it's strategic. Alex, it's sad.
but the great part
What's
is,
his name?
it's like those hidden pictures they hang on the wall. When you don't see it, you feel dumb. But as soon as you see it, it's like, oh, why didn't I see that before?
I believe that. I tell you who does see it. The Democrat Party know exactly what they're doing, and they've mastered it. And until we wake up and we have advocates who get out there and talk about it, they'll continue to throw the wool over our eyes.
Mike, did anybody else figure out what was going on when you were in Minnesota?
Well, Alex, funny story is one of our history teachers, I mean, as we got older, I probably learned the most amount of facts when I was in elementary school in terms of history, and it just turned into more social arguments as we got into high school. I graduated from high school 5 years ago, and one of our teachers actually said that he couldn't wait for the baby boomer generation to die off, that we're Republicans, because then the real issues would be addressed.
Exactly. Like we get somewhere once you die, which is total totalitarianism.
Yeah.
They don't know that the next crop of folks will be taught, get rid of these people, you get something. It's like Bill Gates, if we don't develop lady treatment, we can hire 10 teachers. The teachers are like, oh, people die and I get things? No. You build an economy, you take care of old people, and that builds an economy. You get the service and quality you demand. It's called civilization. I'm really impressed with the work you're doing.
Thank you so much.
God bless you, sir. Folks, you go to the website. It's rwbray.com. David Knight's coming up. I'm going to introduce him. Stay with us.
What we are drawing attention to is the amazing transformation of Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party into being the national security party and the national security candidate by whipping up a neo-McCarthyist hysteria about Russia. Any serious analyst understands that China and the United States are the only real games in town. China has 10 times the population of Russia, 7 times the GDP. Russia has the GDP of Italy. It's interesting in that it wants to be, that it makes provocative statements and so on. It's interesting, and of course, within its own neck of the woods, countries in between Russia and China, the Caucasus and so on. Of course, Russia is very significant to them. But on the world stage, Russia is a bit player. Now, that attempted reframing by Hillary Clinton to declare media organizations that are publishing material that shows illicit behavior in the DNC to fix the election for her as somehow us being Russian agents.
I hate that
similar
shit,
criticism
dude.
has emerged
Okay,
from people connected
I
to
want to
her
grab
campaign
him
to the
and move him
extent,
here.
where Glenn
Do
Greenwald,
you mind?
works. Her campaign has effectively called, and maybe even directly called Donald Trump, the opposition leader in this case, a Russian agent. Jill Stein, the Greens Party candidate, effectively the fourth candidate in terms of numbers, also being called a Russian agent. This is a neo-McCarthyist hysteria. What kind of press environment is this going to lead to post-election? The American press, in the American liberal press, in falling over themselves to defend Hillary Clinton, are erecting a demon that is going to put nooses around everyone's necks as soon as she wins the election, which he is almost certainly going to do.
That is part of the, and I don't overuse the term epic. So much stuff is epic now because there's a quickening happening. And the whole interview is on Infowars.com right now. Everybody needs to spread this interview to the four corners of the planet. I mean that figuratively before the New York Times says that I believe the earth is flat or four-cornered. You have Trump going to Mexico and saying globalism is screwing both our countries. Carlos Slim, by the way, isn't even a Mexican. You can't make this stuff up. And they are screwing everyone over. Let's come together. And the Mexican president comes out and says, I like Trump. And Trump says they hit it off. And you can see the body language when they're out there on stage together. Because they misrepresent everything Trump says. Trump's like, you grab people that come in from Guatemala, you can't have your border open and give people free stuff. The Mexicans are like, oh, yeah, that's true. I don't dislike you. I mean, we got to have doors on our houses, people. And I'll be quite frank with you. And Trump's talked about this, too. I don't care if you're Hispanic, black, white, or whoever you are. Americans have killed our children. Well, the credit to the Hispanics, they haven't done as much. So Hispanics deserve to take over the United States. I mean, yeah, quite frankly, it's the Darwin Award. You kill your kids, you deserve to not be around anymore. Fine, repopulate the United States with Mexicans. The point is that they're politically bringing them in and brainwashing them to carry out the New World Order. It must be stopped. The brainwashing, the anchor babies, the free crap. It's not fair, it's not right. The Ford Foundation, instilling all this race baiting. Why would the Ford Foundation give $100 million to BLM? Because they're going to create basket cases where everyone has chips on their shoulders and never overcomes and gets stronger. That's how you become a force. No, you just get a chip, and your whole job in the world is having a chip on your shoulder. It's the essence of immaturity. I mean, I used to wonder why I was working on ranches and stuff, the cowboys would be mean to me and stuff at first. They were just testing to see who I was. And then by the end of the summer, they were like, tears in their eyes, I was leaving. And I never sit there, people in my life, and mess with them up front. I guess I do now. I need to mess with people when they're first in my life or have a job or whatever to see who you are. Let's mess with you. Let's find out what's really going on under here. But as you get older, you learn this stuff, and then you look at what the media is doing, and you're like, oh, my God, these are some nasty people. Now, I want to turn the baton over to David Knight, who, by the way, is always a handsome guy. But he looks like the most interesting man right now. I'm ready for a Dos Equis commercial. I think, David, we found your look with that gray suit and black shirt. You look pretty sharp over there.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, I'm going to talk about what I call Trump's Mexican summit, Alex. It's pretty amazing because even his hardcore critics, NPR, the Washington Post, even Bill Kristol are talking about how he really had a huge win yesterday.
It was a grand slam.
That's absolutely amazing, yeah. And, you know, of course, also we look at what's going on with SpaceX. I think there's a lot of metaphors to be seen here. But one of the things I wanted to talk about was what you were just talking about with Julian Assange. He said what the New York Times is selling is conspiracy and not journalism. That's absolutely true. There's not an ounce of real facts in this, and yet this conspiracy that the Russians are behind everything that happens bad to the Democrats, that's being used in some very serious ways as we look at Homeland Security. I thought it was very interesting in that article that you had, the interview that you had earlier today, when we were talking to Scott Adams. And at the very end of the interview, you pointed out to him, Homeland Security is angling to take over our elections. And he goes, no, that can't be true. I mean, it's just so far
everybody's
out
in denial.
that people can't accept.
And listen, I'm even conditioned with normalcy bias.
Yeah.
I should have been talking all day. I thought of this earlier and didn't get back to it. I should have been talking all day, productions, showing it. I had this whole plan to get clips of Obama denying it and saying, and then now they admit it, and showing how mainstream news clips admitting that Goldman Sachs is installing presidents in Europe, and explain. Davos is calling for the end of elected governments.
Yes.
I mean, it's like, do you understand, folks? Hillary's putting out fundraising letters saying, shut down the alt-right, and then she comes out and names yours truly. I mean, this is it, people. It's real. It hit me like a ton of bricks this morning, and I was absolutely upset. I never almost get hysterical. I was just like really concerned. I was like, what is it? What is it? I'm like, oh my God. It was all the news I read early that morning before I exercised. There's a demarcation line in the last few days. You could say it started September 1st, 2016. We're in the New World Order. It's on. Everything is moving at...
Duh.
Let me get this exactly right. Their takeover is now moving at 20 times the previous speed, and I mean that number. I really thought about that. Before it was all incremental testing. It's now boom, boom. I mean, it is boom. We are in it now, David.
Alex, they always say, how does a very rich person go bankrupt? They asked a rich person once, and he said, well, gradually at first and then very rapidly. And that's what we're seeing happening here. They've got this deadline. They've been talking about massive structural reorganization of the global governance.
I totally forgot. You're right. Germany admits they're on the verge of collapse. Exactly. Yeah. And the average person, it's too scary. Oh, they're not taking over the elections. Oh, Germany's not saying get emergency supplies. Prepare for a massive emergency. And I'm so conditioned. I've been saying it for so long.
2 weeks.
I'm not even up here tooting our horn, David.
Yeah.
In fact, I've got the articles right here. Deutsche Bank refuses clients' demand for physical gold. And it goes on and on and on, and they admit that they're telling... David, you covered it last Friday. What do you think the Germans... The national government says, get ready for a serious emergency, get food and water, and the Germans clean the shelves off. What is going on there?
Oh, they're doing a lot of prepping, and I think the key thing is there's a massive run on home safes because they can't trust the banks. You've got this negative interest rate that's going on. They know that they could confiscate their money and call it a haircut. They don't even want to put their money in safe deposit boxes because they know they'll steal that. So you've got this massive movement, a shortage of safes because everybody wants to take their cash home and put there. Why not? Why should they have to pay the banks to save their money? Instead of the banks paying them any interest, they have to pay the banks and then have it subject to confiscation or just outright theft, if you want to call it.
And by the way, U.S. banks, in the new stress test reports, I didn't even cover this. I read this like a month ago.
Why do I have to pay on top of the money that I've been working on top?
Because I've been so close to it for so long.
Come on.
I don't want to just say, we told you.
Yet they make money, and that's banks worldwide.
We should pull it up.
They make money off of our money, and then we're supposed to say, thank you for charging us 20%.
U.S. banks in next crisis might need U.S. Greece-style bail-in. And then it went on to say they're preparing and looking at taking money out of your account or negative interest rates where you pay them to have an account or pay them to have money. I mean, it's like they're actually in major publications now lubing us up for grabbing the money out of our accounts, David.
Well, that was one of the key things, I think, from Nigel Farage, I remembered, was the time that he got up at the EU and he said, who are you to shut down the democratically elected leaders of Italy and Greece and put in these Goldman Sachs bankers? Who are you to override that?
Let's say it again. Yeah. Appointing presidents and prime ministers and then having Soros get up and brag about it at Davos with his little demon egghead. Yeah. And it's like, what? You got an arch war criminal overthrowing all these countries, running around and appointing leaders of countries?
Well, Alex, that story that was on Drudge a couple of days ago is a Breitbart story with Bill Clinton. They went back, they looked at the Clinton Global Initiative where he was talking to the yogurt billionaire, Chobani Yogurt. And they were talking about how they could bring in these Syrian refugees, how they were the greatest people, the greatest workers and entrepreneurs in the world. They could bring them in. There's 10,000 empty homes in Detroit. And you know, Hillary Clinton's policy will bring in more people in her first term than the entire population of Detroit.
Yeah, they're saying Americans don't matter. We're going to resettle you and then give them welfare money.
That's right.
Like crops of things that are growing. Sorry, go ahead.
And it's even worse, Alex, because I covered that on Tuesday's Nightly News with Leanne McAdoo. The fact that this guy, who is this Chobani Yogurt guy? Well, he's a Turkish citizen who is sitting on the board of the New York Fed, setting our monetary policy. He's not even an American citizen. And furthermore, he's sitting there with Bill Clinton and the Clinton Global Initiative and talking about how they're going to establish immigration policy. He's not even an American citizen. And he's using these people as slaves when they come into his factory.
And they're going to have basically the UN, EU oversee our election and have Homeland Security run it. But Trump's wrong that they're going to have feds involved. And I'm wrong.
Yeah.
The creature in Texas is wrong. I'm sorry. Dare not say her name. Now, I'm going to hand the baton to you in a moment. I have a lot to cover here, David, but let me just add this. Something, I didn't drop the ball today, but it's epic level. Again, I use that word. It is big. It's biggest. They're announcing YouTube, Google, that the politically correct moderators that ban people for no reason, if they don't like what you're doing, they demonetize you, basically steal your money. That is the Chinese model, and drugsreport.com
That's right.
is linked to our article on it, where they say you're going to have a social credit rating that the state and the telecoms and the big internet companies decide,
look at it light up,
down to the point of not being able to buy or sell online, and then finally not even having a job. This is the communist Chinese model to control their 1,300,000,000 people. And you've been to China, you're adopted daughter from China, you've seen the slavery. I mean, you described it to me.
See how much money I'm making?
Imagine, this is how they control these poor people. And now they're bringing it here. I mean, this is so draconian, so flamingly evil. But it's just a terms of service agreement. Like, oh, Samsung, we're watching you off the camera at home. Behave yourself. And then they're like, oh, okay, they're watching me. Big deal. I mean, it's just... And imagine, David, it's going to get crazier and crazier and crazier. And I'm going to say this, then I'm done. Listen to me carefully, folks. This signifies how desperate they are that they're accelerating their plan, which is way behind schedule. Because they know people now understand globalism and the system, and they get the con, and it's exponentially growing. And so when you see all this draconian action, understand it's scary, it's serious, we got to fight it, but it's a sign of their weakness. They are showing themselves, they are moving quickly. China's never had freedom. They're great, smart people, but they never had a Magna Carta, never had a 1776. Doesn't mean we're perfect, but we just got a few steps ahead of them. If the Chinese ever had true free market, they will take over the planet, and that's fine with me. The point is that the globalists don't want them to have that. And they treat them like trash, and they are totally abused, and it is so sad, and it's so out of control, and we have to understand that we are in the crucible right now. We are in the arena. This is history happening right now, and I can tell you what Donald Trump talked to the Mexican president about. The president may get pressured. He may say some bad things later, but he said some nice things so far. So has Trump said they really hit it off. And I know what Donald Trump said to him. Not because I talked to Donald Trump, but you watch. It might be 6 months, might be a year, might be tomorrow. It's going to come out. I said he should say, we're both being oppressed by globalism. Let's come together. Because I know Trump's so informed and has generals advising him. So I'm just going to stop right there. I know the type of advice he's getting. I know the intel he's getting. That's why I know what he said. I know he leaned across and said, you want to free your people and actually let your country shine with their great ingenuity and all their hard work and smarts and innovation? You know they're laundering the drug money. You know the big banks run your country. You know you've sold your people out for generations. This can all change. I'm ready to break the will of the New World Order. We can have real prosperity. It's going to be hard. But if you want the civil war that was started, run by Washington, folks, you can bet your the globalists. But I guarantee you Trump told him, I'm ready to stop the oppression of Mexico. Because I looked at that president closely on the close-up videos. He had tears in his eyes during part of it because no president or person about to be president would ever actually come and talk to him.
Yeah.
Trump completely blew the blinders off that guy. He was like a deer in the headlights, folks, because Trump is like Alex Jones. Imagine if I met with the Mexican president and I was about to be president, what I would say. It'd be that. I can guarantee you that's what Trump said. Just as I said, what Trump should say yesterday. He didn't hear that from me. He was on an airplane flying to Mexico then. The thing is, Trump doesn't listen to me. The reason I've talked to Trump and he clicks is it's like finishing each other's sentences. I'm going to stop right there because they make news stories out of it. The point is, Trump is so dialed in, it is crazy, okay? Heaven sent, okay? Now, that's all I'm telling you. I want to play one little clip to have some fun and then hand the baton to David Knight. People tell me take more time off. I need to. So we went out with some friends' boat, and Tim Kennedy, soldier, and some of the other soldiers, interesting fellows, went out there with us. My security detail went out there with us. Ridiculous. And we're there, and they're like tackling each other and fighting, all this other stuff. And I said, oh, yeah? And I didn't have to tell. That's what's great about single folks. Tell Tim, hey, tackle me. I was like, you know, I actually support Hillary Clinton. I really like her now. And he tackled me. And again, that's what syncing up is about. It's not that you're on the same page. And that's what society's supposed to be like, folks. Honor and common sense, you sync. And the globalists are desyncing us. Freedom is about syncing. That doesn't mean being on the same piece of paper. It means being in reality, and then it's a clear path. So it's a funny little clip, but it's funny to know it wasn't scripted. It's like, I knew he would do it. I said it. It happened. And again, that's a little microcosm of what the media's trying to figure out with this Trump stuff and me. Look, Trump and I are tuned into the same spirit. You understand? The same animating, it's folks, it is metaphysical. It's incredible. And it's happening. And I'm just going to leave it right there. Okay? But this is what's happening. It's biblical, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the clip. I like Hillary Clinton, and, you know, that's where I support. So, Tim Kennedy, I'm going to support Hillary right now. No! And again, that's just a microcosm of not scripting something, but it was scripted because he got exactly what I was saying. We were synced. David Knight, take over. Thanks for letting me take over 25 minutes of the show. We love you. Please continue.
Oh, thank you, Alex. You know, one of the things that's very dangerous, we're going to talk about what Julian Assange has said about Hillary's Un-American Activities Commission, because that's basically what it is. Remember when we had the McCarthyism? We had the House Un-American Activities Committee, HUAC. You know, we don't even need to change the acronym. You know, we should just stay with HUAC and just substitute for House Hillary, because whenever anything happens to them, it's always, you're with the Russians. It's actually pretty funny when you look at it. But when we look at what's going on with Homeland Security, and I think we need to really delve into this and look at this carefully and think about what's going to happen with this. You know, we've got Jay Johnson, who is whining about the fact that we've got 9,000 different jurisdictions running elections all over this country. That's a good thing. But it's not if you want centralized control. You have to understand, these people want a command control economy. They want central control of everything because they are authoritarians. And think about what is going to happen if we centralize control of our elections. It means that they're going to also standardize it. How are they going to standardize it? They're going to standardize it by making it more electronic. That is the key vulnerability. So here are these people where everything is being hacked. The DNC is being hacked. Hillary's being hacked. You've got personnel files from the federal government that have been hacked in a massive way. Even the NSA has been hacked. Their hacking code was hacked. Okay, that's a recursive hack, I guess.
Wait.
They hacked their hacking code and put it on the internet for sale. Okay, so what would you want to do?
Hilarious.
I think you would want to not go into that environment until you've at least demonstrated that you have got some control over it, don't you? But instead, what they want to do is to standardize that, and that's really what's going to happen. They're going to make our election system even more vulnerable because they want to control it. Understand that the forefront of electronic elections has been Hugo Chavez's Venezuela. Smartmatic, the largest seller of electronic voting machines, was created by Hugo Chavez cronies in Venezuela to control the elections there. And as we talked about last night, they have a string of corruption throughout Central and South America, including the Philippines. They go in, they run these elections, all of a sudden, guess what? The system went down, and we lost 25% of the votes. We don't have any audit trail for any of this stuff, but trust us, we know how they voted. We're going to tell you how 25% of the people voted, but there's no audit trail for this. This is the kind of corruption that we're looking at here. And this is something that happened 2 years ago in Brazil. People there accused a very unpopular socialist who was found guilty of all kinds of corruption, money laundering, campaign violations, campaign contribution violations. Sounds very much like Hillary Clinton, doesn't it? She was running for re-election. All this stuff was happening. The economy was failing, inflation was going up, and there were massive corruption scandals and looting of a oil company that they had taken government control of. As all this was happening, she was down anywhere from 6.5 to 10 points in the polls just before the election, and then miraculously, she wins. Even though she was just prior to it, she was booed by a stadium of 60,000 fans. She wins. That's the danger of electronic elections. We can make it safe. We can make it very simple. We know how to do it. Use paper. Use human observers. Vote on the same day. Use photo IDs, but they don't want that. They want it complex so they can rig it. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show
Yes,
on
sir, Bob.
this Thursday, September 1st, 2016. It's been 272 days since Hillary Clinton has done a press conference. I think that's a big reason why she didn't go down and talk to the Mexican president, because she couldn't handle a press conference afterwards. But the press seems to be letting her get away with that. And we're going to get back to the news here. And I want to talk about SpaceX, because I think it tells us a great deal about Hillary Clinton. I think it even tells us something about 9/11 and also Julian Assange, what he's talking about with the New York Times, I think tells us, gives us some insights about 9/11. We've had WND put out a story today talking about 9/11. So welcome, WND. I'm glad they're talking about that. They've talked about it before in the past. They took it on directly this time. So we're going to talk about that story as well coming up. Before we do, real quickly, we have 20% off Vitamin Mineral Fusion Drink at InfoWarsLife.com. A great way to support your health and to support our operation here. It's the affordable, great-tasting Vitamin Mineral Fusion Drink. It is a game-changing formula that helps you get a full month's supply of essential vitamins, minerals, and amino acids that your body needs in a very tasteful, easy to assimilate, easy to take format that is just mixing that in with water or with carbonated water, which is what I did this morning with mine. Tasted great. My wife did that for me. Again, you can get that now 20% off at InfoWarsLife.com. That's your baseline multivitamin support right there in a drink mix. Also, we still have the Blackheart special at InfoWarsStore.com. That's the Hillary for Prison t-shirt at cost, $9.95. We've had so many people saying, hey, we want to help InfoWars. Alex has put a second link there. If you want to buy it at full price to help the organization, you can pay $20 for it, or you can get it at cost, $9.95. Either way, we want you to get that information out there. If you want to help support the operation, that we would really appreciate that. But we'll offer it to you for cost, because we are serious about Hillary Clinton needing to go to prison, not to the White House. Now, let's talk about what happened today with SpaceX. We had a rocket that was going to take up Facebook's newest internet satellite. It was a $200 million satellite. That's a lot of money. Now think about it this way. If you're a Facebook executive, I want to talk to Mark Zuckerberg now and tell Mark, it's not all that bad. That's less than half of what Obama sent
Vendetta
of cash to the Iranians. Okay, he sent them $450 million. So this is only $200 million.
Wars everywhere.
Sure Obama can make it up to you, because you guys are really good friends. Maybe he can find some more cash in a Swiss bank that he can put on a pallet and send to you to kind of cover those costs there if you're not insured. So $200 million, but it's less than Obama sent to Iran, okay, and burned on that particular mission.
So pretty.
A series of explosions sent smoke and flames shooting through the sky and shook buildings miles away. You know, when I saw that, I thought about what Hillary Clinton said earlier this week when she was talking about all of her corruption, her privileged immunity, you know, acting as if, I guess she's got diplomatic immunity because she was Secretary of State. She can't be prosecuted no matter what she does. Or maybe that immunity comes from being a Clinton. I don't know. Or just the people that she knows, or what she knows about people. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's what Hillary knows about people. But when I looked at that, I thought about it shocking buildings miles away. You know, I thought about how her corruption has sent shockwaves through our political system and how it is destroying our political system. But also her remarks. Remember earlier this week, she said, you know, these emails, there's lots of smoke, but there's no fire. Now look at this picture. I tweeted this out earlier today. I tweeted out the picture. One of the pictures is up there. Yeah, there's a lot of smoke there, but you can also see there's fire. Because, you know, that's the metaphor, actually, Hillary. That's the true metaphor. You're trying to sell us a phony metaphor. Where there is smoke, there is fire. You can see that fire on the launching pad as the Facebook satellite and the rocket that is on blow up, explode, and catch fire. Okay? But now, as I tweeted out, you know, Hillary said, well, there's lots of smoke but no fire. She looks at that. Donna Brazile, of the Democrat National Committee, she's now taken the place of Hillary's other friend, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She says, no, I don't see any smoke. Because that's what she said earlier this week when she was on the talk shows and they were asking her about it. Even as they go, and I put that hashtag bleach bit there because, you know, even as they're talking about the industrial software that she put in there, which doesn't just delete a file, but it overwrites your disk so that you can't recover the information. You know, the information is there. You can always reverse engineer that with some recovery software. They go back, they lose the directory, but they can, as long as the information is still on the disk, they can rebuild that, especially with a text file. So they use something like BleachBit to actually overwrite the data on the disk so that it's not recoverable. The only good thing about this, I guess, is that the people in Africa have now been granted a reprieve from being dominated by Facebook, a temporary reprieve at least. They're going to keep going with that. But let's talk about what Alex Jones brought up earlier, talking about Julian Assange. There's a New York Times article that came out that is accusing WikiLeaks of being affiliated with Russian intelligence. And again, as we were saying, it is the charge that they're leveling at everybody. Anybody that is an enemy of theirs is part of Russian intelligence. And he had this to say. This is the RT story. It says, WikiLeaks has dismissed a wordy article by the New York Times suggesting that leaks by founder Julian Assange may have benefited Moscow or come from, quote, Russian intelligence, unquote. They said the claims are false and that they impute conspiracy. Now, this was done today. This article came out today. They claim, quote, the agendas of WikiLeaks and the Kremlin have often dovetailed. They also said the majority of Julian Assange's revelations had an anti-American, slightly pro-Russia bias. Without citing a reliable proof, the newspaper went on to speculate that Assange could have received Democrat Party documents leaked earlier this year from Russian intelligence. Now, WikiLeaks replied and said the only hard news in this New York Times article is that, quote, American officials say Mr. Assange and WikiLeaks probably had no direct ties to Russian intelligence services, unquote. And he points out that was said by James Clapper, head of U.S. intelligence. He stated the U.S. government has not been able to make any attribution. We've also had the former head of technical intelligence at the NSA, William Binney, come on our show and tell us that not only does he believe that the NSA has the information if they want to get it that they can put out there, but he says he has a reason to believe that there's a lot of people that work within the NSA that would be so angry at what Hillary Clinton would do that they, and get away with it, putting their lives in danger. Many people have lost their lives. Actually, Judge Napolitano said that as well. He said there's people in the intelligence community who have lost their lives over Hillary Clinton's leaks. And they're very concerned about what's going to happen with a president, Hillary Clinton. All of their heads are basically in the chopping block, in the guillotine, if Hillary Clinton becomes president. So they're angry about what's happened. They're angry about how she has exposed people, how many of them believe she has already cost people their lives. And this is not, we're not talking about Arkancides here. We're talking about costing people their lives because you've leaked intelligence that exposes them in the field. And these 30 emails that they just found that they've just turned up again. This is, you know, she used to say that Bill had these bimbo eruptions, and these people were not bimbos, okay? There were some bimbos, and that's what they wanted to focus on. That's what Ken Starr wanted to focus on. Ken Starr wanted to focus on the bimbos, not the people who were raped, who were sexually abused by Bill Clinton. Okay, he wanted to focus on the people that were having consensual sex with Bill Clinton, and that's the way they excused him. He turned that attention over there. And we've seen, after Ken Starr left as quote-unquote special prosecutor to Bill Clinton, what did he do? He wound up becoming a defender of Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, the serial pedophile who was a friend of Bill Clinton. Ken Starr defended that man in court. And then Ken Starr at Baylor, no longer at Baylor, defended football players who were accused of rape. But what he did with Bill Clinton to defend him was basically to deflect attention to bimbos, not to victims, okay? But Hillary Clinton has got her own eruptions, this continual trickle of things that are being released, emails that are showing what they have done secretly, how they have set up pay-for-play, how they have played fast and loose and carelessly with national security issues. But then they go on in this article, they say, this is from WikiLeaks, a tweet from them, they say, no, Julian Assange did not say that Clinton is a demon. Yeah, actually, that would be us. Let's get the attribution right. He says, the demon is neo-McCarthyist hysteria that has been erected by the liberal press. Now, we did say she's a demon, and we will gladly accept that because we really do believe that she is. And then they went on to say this. Last thing I'll have to say about this. A WikiLeaks statement rejected the notion that WikiLeaks is a sympathizer to Moscow. They said WikiLeaks has published more than 650,000 documents about Russia and about President Putin, most of which are critical. So
because the man's fucking on point.
Secret hidden agendas. Because
it's real.
Corruption. They give people who are prone to be corrupted by power, and everybody is prone to be corrupted by power, but the worst people seem to be able to actually achieve their goal of getting the power. But it's that corruption that comes with power that gets, it's like pouring gasoline on the fire when there is no transparency, where there is no oversight. And so the mission of WikiLeaks has been to expose this, to make people who hate transparency, people like Barack Obama, people like George W. Bush, people especially like Hillary Clinton, to expose what they are doing in the dark, to shine light on it. She talks about the dark corners of the internet. No, she is doing the things in the dark. The internet is the light that is shining on what Hillary Clinton is doing. And then as we talk about this conspiracy, you know, whether it is a conspiracy, now we have the New York Times openly engaging in conspiracy theories. And then I thought it was interesting to see this article today appear on WorldNet Daily, WND, talking about the government's other conspiracy theory, you know, the official 9/11 story. You know, the idea that 2 planes caused 3 buildings to collapse in their footprint. Okay, just think about that for a moment. And along those lines, along the physical lines of that, of course, there's a lot of different
3 buildings
angles we can look at this and say, you know what, the government's official
one
conspiracy
went
theory
right through
about
the other
9/11
one, and it hit
cannot
the
be
second.
true. Again, going back to Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes, it says when you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, is the truth. Okay, so when you eliminate things that cannot happen, like these 3 skyscrapers falling into their footprint when only 2 of them were even hit by a plane, that's when we start to look at some things that might be true. Now, why did they bring this up again? We've just had another physics magazine. This is Europhysics magazine, a respected publication of the European physics community, has published a report by 4 experts who say the evidence points overwhelmingly to the conclusion that all 3 buildings were destroyed by controlled demolition. And that has far-reaching political implications, because you'd have to prepare that in advance if you're going to have a demolition. Just like you have to prepare the solution. You know, when you say that we've got evidence, and the FBI comes out and says, we've got some evidence that a couple of states had some Russians snooping around in their election system, so I think we need to take it over. They are giving you a load of baloney just so they can sell you the solution that they already wanted to do, which is a government takeover. That's always what they want to sell. They say, given the far-reaching implications, it is morally imperative that this hypothesis be the subject of a truly scientific, impartial investigation by responsible authorities, said the 4 physicists. And then they point out in this article from WND that in August 2002, the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, we've talked about this before as well, even NIST found that the 3 buildings were the only known cases of total structural collapse in high-rise buildings where fires played a significant role. quote from NIST, the government's own scientific standards and technology organization. They say it bears repeating that fires have never caused the total collapse of a steel-framed high-rise before or since 9/11. Okay, did we witness an unprecedented event 3 separate times on September 11th? Yeah. Again, 2 planes, 3 buildings. Do the math, okay? And then they go on and talk about some of the other aspects of it. And I have to ask, where are the lawsuits? We just had a lawsuit that was shut down out in Colorado. Every time there's a shooting, they try to come after the place where the shooting occurred, the movie theater in Aurora, Colorado, or they go after gun manufacturers, even though there are laws that say you can't sue a gun manufacturer just because they make guns. That doesn't give them any liability, any criminal liability in that crime. Just like you can't sue Ford if you've got a jihadi using a Ford truck to run down people at a French beach, okay? The people who made that truck didn't do anything wrong. It was the person who was running people down that did something wrong. But where are the people suing the engineers and architects that built the World Trade Center? Why aren't they suing the building inspectors there in New York City who inspected that, who went over their design, who double-checked that? Why aren't they suing the people who built it? Interesting, isn't it? Now, I want to abruptly change this. I got a story just as we went to break that Kit Daniels gave to me. This is something we've talked about before. Gary Johnson loves to say that he's not against the Second Amendment, even though he chose William Weld, who is against the Second Amendment, and said, I'm not going to run as a libertarian candidate if I don't get William Weld as my VP. He was very adamant about that. And there was a lot of debate at the time within the party. Said that this guy has been against the Second Amendment from the get-go. And now the NRA is pointing that out. This is a story by Kit Daniels at Infowars.com. The Libertarian Party is running an anti-gun candidate for vice president, warns the NRA. They say as governor of Massachusetts, William Weld supported various gun control schemes, including a ban on semi-automatic firearms. The NRA also says, unfortunately, and despite being the Libertarian candidate for vice president, Weld continues his anti-gun ways. Weld recently confirmed his anti-gun stance and his ignorance on guns in general, writes Kit. He says, and this is a quote from William Weld in an interview just recently in August. The 5-shot rifle, says Weld, that's a standard military rifle. The problem is, if you attach a clip to it so it can fire more shells, and if you remove the pins, it becomes an automatic weapon. And those are independent criminal offenses. That's when it becomes essentially a weapon of mass destruction. And he also attacked AR-15s. Well, let me tell you something, Weld. You should take a look at the flag that we have all over here in Texas. It's the Come and Take It flag. You know what's on that flag? It's not a musket. It's a cannon. It's a cannon. You know, when they went to get the arms at Concord and Lexington in Massachusetts, where you were governor, they went there to take the cannons, not just the firearms. The Second Amendment is about the militia protecting our country, not a standing army. They were supposed to be military weapons to protect us from foreign and domestic enemies. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight. We're going to talk about Donald Trump's Mexican summit, because I think that's really what we ought to talk about. It's so much of a victory. We've got an article here from The Hill saying Trump has the ball and Hillary can't run out the clock. We're going to take a look at what Donald Trump's critics said about what happened yesterday. But before we do, real quickly, just want to let you know that our initial supply of thru selenium is running low. You'll find that at InfoWarsLife.com. Again, this is our initial run of a new selenium that we are selling at InfoWarsLife.com. This is from a 100% organic source. It's 100% organic mustard seed. They press it out of that. So you not only do you not get some trace heavy metals that you might get in some mineral formulations of selenium, it's not synthetic, it is organic, and it doesn't have any of these heavy metals. As a matter of fact, when they press it out of the organic mustard seed, you actually get some good things out of that as well. But again, it's something that is very important for your health, and this is a new formulation that we have at InfoWarsLife.com. Also, we have 20% off Vitamin Mineral Fusion Drink Mix. That's at InfoWarsLife.com while supplies last. So take advantage of that. And the Hillary for Prison t-shirt, part of our Black Heart special. You can get that at cost at InfoWarsStore.com, $9.95. That's our cost. If you want to help our organization, we have another little box down there that Alex has added, so you can pay full cost if you would like to help us to support our operation here, but we're going to put that out there.
I bought my
at
t-shirt
cost for
full
people
cost, and
because
I'll
we want to get that message
I have
out.
a
Again,
video
here,
when I
Hillary
soon as
for
I
Prison
get
t-shirt
it.
at cost.
$20,
One of our black
and I'm in
art special
Mexico.
at InfoWarsStore.com.
That's like
Let's
half
talk
a
real
day's
quickly in the
work
time
for
we got
me.
left about Trump's Mexican summit. This is the Washington Post. No friend to Donald Trump. They say Donald Trump went to Mexico and won. Okay? Hillary was the loser in this, folks. That's not their subtitle. But they say after weeks of scrutiny, actually after weeks of attack by this same organization, the Washington Post, New York Times, CNN, etc., but after weeks of that, Trump needed to restore some sense of legitimacy and strength to his flailing campaign. Yeah, I don't think it was flailing. But anyway, what better way to do this than to stand statesman-like next to the president of Mexico? Trump, says the Washington Post, played the role to perfection. Subdued, even solemn. He owned the proceedings. Trump chose when and how he wanted to visit Mexico. He established the meeting's agenda. He laid out a 5-point plan for a bilateral relationship and a potential Trump presidency. He even chose who got to ask the questions during the brief news conference that followed the usual statements, because, you know, he's had a lot of practice doing this. He's had 16 press conferences. Hillary has had 0 press conferences. And they go on to say he deftly placed himself on equal footing with the president of Mexico.
Yes, he
a
did.
master of optics, Trump used the setting to his advantage, calling Piana Neto, I don't know how to pronounce his name, sorry folks, I'm not Spanish.
No problem.
A master of optics, he used the setting to his advantage. He called him a friend. He conveniently shook his hand for front page ready photos. He avoided anything resembling an apology, and albeit in more careful terms than before, he stood by the construction of a border barrier. Okay? Meanwhile, even NPR says,
hey, I'm in Mexico, player. I gotta pay taxes.
To date.
I gotta have.
Pointing out that everybody would say he can't come back from this deficit. You know, his former
if I don't have
said,
a
we're never planning to win
resident
permit,
a green card for you guys
in November.
You're in Mexico.
And,
I can't work.
Even William Crystal says it's hard when you're.
I don't work for any Mexican company. I work for the United States company. But
looks presidential. A good day.
With that
for
being
Trump.
said,
and Hillary's former communication director
they still
said,
ask me,
Trump need to pivot,
yeah, work permit,
look
because
more
if you don't get
presidential.
hired.
The event was a home run. Join us tonight for the InfoWars Nightly News, 7 Central, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Peña Nieto. That was funny. Wait, what?
We are on the march. The Empire is on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
I want to choose my words very, very carefully here. And I want everything I say to really cut through all the establishment propaganda and disinformation. This is probably one of the most profound, important things I've ever said in my 21 years on air. It is completely confirmed.
What the hell is
This country has
that?
been taken over by foreign multinational corporations who want to pull up the ladder
Oh, that was creepy. No.
and end the free market system of prosperity and reestablish
Look, I'm out of
a
here,
form
dude.
of feudalism. And what's profound about that is it's fact. Not exaggerated, not embellished. We have been hit by 21st century warfare. We have been conquered.
Never. You're about to die.
But just as profound, the world is awakening. Look at the Brexit. Look at other nationalist movements across the planet.
Take Cambridge.
Identifying that unelected
Take Cambridge.
multinationals through fraudulent trade deals
Full of
that are actually
scientists. I'd really like Cambridge. That is going to be my
agreements.
next tip-top
have seized our nations by fraud
conquer.
and by stealth.
Teddy-o. Did you not love the king?
But that itself is not the profound statement I was about to make. It's this. In the worldwide resistance to this,
Fine.
Drudge Report, Matt Drudge, Nigel Farage, Alex Jones,
Are you serious,
Donald Trump,
dude? You guys got the whole world messed up
Are
right
now.
here. Wait a minute.
The undisputed defenders of the nation state. Now, that isn't a statement to sound arrogant or powerful. It's something I don't even want to be in this position. It makes my stomach tie up in knots, and I'm somebody who's never choked on air. We're now approaching a point where it's so surreal, and even the mainstream media admits we're the leaders of the opposition. They act like that's discrediting. No, what it's discrediting of is that people are hungry for freedom and hungry to resist tyranny, and other men have just stood there and done nothing and been bought off and gone along with this. The exciting news is we're having a huge effect that I never in my wildest imaginations going on air 21 years ago thought that I thought I would raise the alarm and then men who were better than me, smarter than I, more focused, with more resources would come to the call to save the country. And instead, listeners supported us and supported others in the movement. And so now the profound statement is, without any doubt, everybody looking at it prima facie, on its face, we are the resistance. And that means you are the resistance. You are the power of Infowars.com. You are the power of DrudgeReport.com. And we are the resistance. Now that said, everybody's really getting upset right now, and they should, because Homeland Security is announcing they're taking over the control of the elections. And that's because we blew their operation wide open a month ago. Everybody knows, again, we launched a move to get Trump to come out and point out election fraud. And Trump took the ball, crossed the goal line, big time, in sudden death overtime. And they are in full panic right now. Full panic. They're basically declaring martial law over the internet and infrastructure. That's what they say in this new executive action. This is big.
That's a good one. Okay. Martial law.
Things are crystal clear now. In fact, our breakdown
on the
analysis,
internet,
I would say, was about 98% on target, out about 6 months ago on what the globalists would do with our elections. Now we've got in completely crisp focus, have a 100% blueprint on what the New World Order is going to do. First off, I want to address a big issue here first, because I'm just now completely recognizing this because I'm a humble person. And a lot of other people are realizing it, and so is the enemy. InfoWars is at the center of resistance to the world corporate takeover known as the New World Order. We know that. But it is at the absolute center of the zeitgeist. And that means you, the listeners, the viewers, the people that spread the word, the folks that give us the tips. You are the heart, you are the blood, you are the eyes, you are the brain, you are the bones, you're the muscles, you're the feet, you're the hands, you're the fingers, you're the nose, you're the ears, you're the hair, you're everything. You are the InfoWar. What's crazy is no one else thought to launch an InfoWar against the globalists or even call it InfoWar. No one thought to go get the technologies they were using against us in information warfare and turn it around, but load the munitions with truth that's even more powerful. And so it's very humbling.
Oh, great. I thought it was...
But it's the truth that Drudge Report, it's like fingers on a hand that you form a fist with. Drudge Report, InfoWars, Donald Trump, Ron Paul to a certain extent, helping lay the groundwork, and a constellation of other news organizations and sites, and our military, it's very awake, forms the resistance against the New World Order. And the counter narratives we're putting out against them are so accurate and so truthful, there's no way their system can stand when it's faced with that. The pro-pedophilia publication, Salon, I mean, they are literally push pedophilia. The pedophiles are good people, basically. They're mainlining. They attack Drudge almost every day, and they say, the Drudge Factor in 2016, providing rumors, scandals, and chatter. The press is all eager to eat up. And they go on to admit that Drudge is setting the narrative. No, Drudge is setting the narrative of common sense, which everybody else can see. He just has a giant platform to break it down and has the courage to do it, and they can't stand it. That's why George Soros' memos are now public via the latest hack, where he wants UN federally controlled police to shut down the internet for patriots and only let his organization operate. That's word for word. They have to try to shut us down. And it shows really how weak they are, that their entire giant media system worldwide, and the Pope and the Saudi royals and the kitchen sink and the Mexican president, all these other people attacking us, and we're winning the fight for public opinion because we're just promoting common sense. And no matter how much they demonize us, it just bounces off or even makes us stronger. Now that said, there's a reason InfoWars is so successful. And it's because we have a memory and we have common sense. And it's a great responsibility. But when I got up this morning and went to Infowars.com and then DrudgeReport.com, I instantly knew what I had to do. Come in and play the words of Obama and Jay Johnson and others to show you how they're deceiving you.
Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, Homeland Security is announcing that it is moving to completely take over the elections. And guess who's going to have Homeland Security authority in the elections? Guess. The multinational body that founded the United Nations.
Oh, what the hell?
Controls the security
the biggest rapist in the world?
European Union. The security directive of the OECD. That is the technical name of the reorganization project that took place after World War II, known as the Marshall Plan. This is when you get down to the bottom layer of what actually runs things. The foreign global multinational system is coming in to run our elections. Now, before they let the Associated Press and 5 other trusted establishment media groups announce the fake numbers whenever they stole elections, because we've called it and Trump's called it and we've talked about it, they are being forced now to openly call an infrastructure protection, which Homeland Security always said they would do. I told you 15 years ago when they first gave it cabinet level status that Homeland Security was going to openly basically make law by regulations, and you'd have to have approval from them to build a barn in your backyard.
What?
Have a farm. Have a job.
Man, you got me messed up, player.
They were founding Homeland Security. I watched.
I grow my weed anywhere I want.
And they are now going to run our elections. Now remember, Obama said, Alex Jones, you know, Donald Trump, you know, well, back then they wouldn't say my name. The Texan, the creature in Texas says that, media. The feds aren't involved in elections. Locals run it. Oh, really? The feds aren't involved in elections. They always were telling the media what returns to put out. Trying to steal elections. Sometimes they weren't successful. Now they're coming in with the UN. That's what this is, to run it. And I covered this in great detail last week from Reuters. Reuters. OSCE.
Yo, pay for that.
That's the security agreement of the OECD.
Oh, like that.
Rights group. Oh, it's a rights group, just like all Soros's groups are. Request 500 international observers to monitor the U.S. presidential vote, 10 times what they did in 2012.
All right, man.
And now this, from WorldNet Daily, Washington Examiner. It's on DrudgeReport.com. It's all been announced openly. Homeland Eyes special declaration to take charge of elections. Jay Johnson, the Department of Homeland Security began considering declaring the election a critical infrastructure, which means they're over it, and law is suspended under executive orders. We're going to cover all of this in great detail. And we told you it was coming. The internet's handed over October 1st to the UN. Fox News has been coup d'etat internally, so they won't challenge fraudulent returns. You see them moving, folks. This is the big one. Trump is way ahead in many polls, neck and neck, even in their fake polls, LA Times polls, he's ahead. They know he's the next president. They're going to try to block it. This is bigger than 1776 because there's 7.5 billion people. We've been overrun by globalists. There's all these weapon systems. The globalists are starting wars with Russia right now. This is an over-the-top moment. Never before seen in history. And I'm sitting here with chills up and down my spine because I have the detailed analysis and breakdown, and I wrote reports. I'm just going to stop right there. I told you I had to take off some time over a month ago and write reports for people. I wrote reports on what I believe they would do, and I got it to the right people.
Obviously. War on you then.
And I'm telling you exactly what I said is happening.
Die.
And I'm like doing the work nobody else will do, and I'm not even bragging, but I'm telling you, at this point, folks, when it comes to strategy against these people, I mean, I'm right there at the top. And I'm just like, this is insane. That there aren't other men out there that were fighting this. There's just Drudge and Joseph Farah and you know, Donald Trump's got the will to do it. God bless him, incredible stamina and courage. But I'm just letting you know, the listeners, how important you are and how historic this broadcast is, so you understand. Because we're going to do what other people aren't going to do. Common sense. We're going to play Jay Johnson first. This is what Homeland Security Director says about Trump, and he is going to run the election. I'm going to skip this break. This is so beyond bombshell. This is hydrogen bomb level over the top. He's come out and said you're disqualified. Obama said you're disqualified. You're not allowed to run. You're evil. You're bad. You're un-American. Everything they are. And then they're going to run the election with the corporate group that did the reconstruction of Europe, that's funded and run by the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, and the globalists, a private combine. I mean, this is the shadow world government. The Organization of Economic and Cooperative Development is the New World Order. It's the IMF, it's the World Bank, it's the WTO, it's the TPP, it's the tentacles, it's the group, it's totally secret. It's dispatching its security services, that's Interpol and spooks, to run our election. It's beyond the UN. The UN is just its little fat totem that it transfers sovereignty to and then it runs, but it's still a front and a fake debating club. This is unbelievable, but I predicted it. You know, I predicted it months ago on air. I know the enemy. I know their operations. This is all I do is study them. And I'm not bragging. I'm saying you need to know you are getting the Death Star plans, period. This is it. And the thing is coming around and it's going to be clear fire in the next few months. Total world government tyranny is coming in. They're planning a financial collapse after this. That's evident. They're trying to prop up the German banks. They admit they're preparing martial law, troops in the streets. Germans are already getting the food off the shelves. I mean, you can just see it. Tick, 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 tick. They're just running the jihadis in as fast as they can. Oh my God, help us. And I don't mean that in vain. I mean, God help us. This is incredible. I'm sure now they're making their big move. This is it, folks. They're going to start wars. They're going to plunge stock markets. They're going to turn paramilitary loose. You decide what side you're on with God right now. The photo on drudgereport.com says it all. It's behind me on screen that we can pull back and show folks. Them in their big fake Homeland Security Situation Room where they spy on everybody and all the rest of it. And they're going to run the election. Of course, they were always doing it, but Obama said they weren't. So let's play Jay Johnson. This clip is, talk about projection. This is it. I believe this is Jay Johnson just a few months ago. I believe that it's the responsibility of those of us in national security and homeland security when a leading candidate for office proposes something that is irresponsible, probably illegal, unconstitutional, and contrary to international law, un-American, and will actually hurt our efforts in Homeland Security and national security, we have to speak out. And he went on to say Donald Trump is disqualified and shouldn't be president. They're the ones doing all this. They're the ones violating our laws. They're the ones opening our borders. They're the ones involved in all these scams. They're the ones, and now everything they say about us is what they're doing, and they're going to run the election. But remember, go ahead and get Roger Stone on the line. Remember, Obama said that the feds aren't involved in elections. He said, what is election fraud? Ha ha, like it doesn't even exist. This is the complete arrogance of these people. Look, I know you can fix the elections. I know you can get away with basically any crime you want. I get all of that. But you can't go on forever, globalists. You're doing it in front of everyone now. And just because you're planning to try to shut down the internet and have some type of civil emergency to cover your butt, it's not going to work. You people are crazy. And just because you've been put in by the New World Order because you got chips on your shoulders or whatever, just because you call people that want free elections racist doesn't make it so, Obama. And you're not allowed to steal elections, Obama, for Hillary just because you're part African. The political correctness is over. Let's go ahead and play Jay Johnson. This is the guy who's absolutely should recuse himself. He is disqualified. It's a conflict of interest. The most brazen of which we haven't seen in a few months since Loretta Lynch was meeting with Bill Clinton illegally on the airplane. So here's Jay Johnson.
As the Secretary of Homeland Security, I have avoided responding to the political season and what candidates have said running for president. However, I believe that it's the responsibility of those of us in national security and Homeland Security when a leading candidate for office proposes something that is irresponsible, probably illegal, unconstitutional, and contrary to international law, un-American, and will actually hurt our efforts at Homeland Security and national security, we have to speak out.
And that's Trump wanting to vet Muslims coming in. Oh, if you're not checking their IDs, then stop them. Well, I can't get in without them checking my passport. Now, this is the guy that's going to run the elections, and I told you they're going to try to steal the election because Trump, in so many real polls and scientific polls, is really ahead. They know this. And I told the world, watch. They're involved. They stole it from Sanders. They tried to steal it from Trump. And Trump has common sense. He comes out. He's done his own research. He says exactly that. And they flip out and say Trump's a kook. We're now going to have the UN and the EU overseeing our election. That's Reuters. And guess who advises them? Soros. We have his own emails. So here is the clip from Obama making fun of myself and Trump, saying election fraud, what's that? And saying the feds aren't involved. As they move to, quote, take over the election to take charge of critical infrastructure. That's called martial law when the party in power takes control of the election. This is, but don't worry, the UN's here to certify it's okay. They admit they're watching Trump and making sure he doesn't try to stop illegals from voting. This is a foreign takeover of America. This is treason emboldened, emblazoned in flame. You are watching history, people. Let's play the clip of Obama.
Of course the elections will not be rigged. What does that mean? The federal government doesn't run the election process. States and cities and communities all across the country, they're the ones who set up the voting systems and the voting booths. And if Mr. Trump is suggesting that there is a conspiracy theory that is being propagated across the country, including in places like Texas,
you know what's skillful. Where
typically it's not Democrats who are in charge of voting booths. That's ridiculous. That
that's enough.
Make sense.
And the implies we're saying Texas will
Vendetta!
The Fed's involved. Homeland Security's always been involved the last 15 years. Now they've got 10 times the monitors. They're bringing in.
Look at him light up like a Christmas tree.
This is like a spy novel on PCP. It's happening. It's in Reuters. They're seizing control. And
What did my guy
I tell you
die?
what I think Trump has to do right now. We're going to do it. We're going to put together the informational videos. You call them ads, but they're not. They're just support of the First Amendment, the right to vote, where we show Obama saying feds don't run elections and then cut to them announcing that the feds are taking over the elections. And then Trump warning of this and being proven right. I mean, the UN and the EU bureaucrats are going to be here running our elections. Roger Stone, at this point, this is so incredible that this is actually happening. This appears like they're completely panicking. They seem completely wild-eyed and desperate. I've never seen such lies. I've never seen such cheerleading in the media for other media to get more intense in lying. Trump is acting presidential, going to New Orleans, going to Louisiana, going to Mexico today to meet with the Mexican president. What in the world is going on here? How can the party in power announce an emergency and seize control of the election, which we already know they were trying to mess with? Sir, what are the words to describe this?
Sure. Well, first of all, let's address, Alex, what the president said. We don't even know what election theft is, what voter fraud is. Let me illuminate the president. It is manipulation of the computerized voter machines in wide use in this country, the so-called Diebold or PES machine. We have an authoritative Stanford study that shows that these machines were rigged against Bernie Sanders. We have a study by a Princeton professor, Appel, showing that the machines can be rigged in 7 minutes or less. We have a CBS video showing how a $15 device you can buy at Radio Shack or Best Buys can be used to hack these machines and vote multiple times. CBS, not exactly a part of the conservative media. So the president is saying, in essence, he ignores the technology, and we're supposed to rely on the integrity of those in the political process not to rig the election, even though it is technologically very possible. Here's what's happened, Alex. Donald Trump has raised this question, and more Americans are asking whether we're going to have an honest election. This is the establishment's attempt to put a cap on this. I reminded of Ronald Reagan, who said the most dangerous words in the English language. I'm from the government, and I'm here to help you. You're right, there is no significant role. We need to watch the watchers, because that's where this election...
And you said that over a month ago. You said, Alex, I'm more concerned about Homeland Security. You said Loretta Lynch and Jay Johnson on this show. We got to find the clip because it's so powerful, and show the date, because it's just, this. We are so on target. I'm not even bragging. I just can't believe how on target Drudge is, Trump is, you are, we are. I mean, we are on target. That's why they're crapping their pants.
Right, and I think your listeners need to get acclimated. Anytime a speaker or an analyst or somebody in the news or someone who supports Hillary says the words conspiracy theorist or conspiracy theory, that person is lying. Whatever they're telling you is a lie. You see, they can't refute that these machines are hackable. They can't refute that they've been hacked in the past.
And they say, Donald Trump's disqualified. He's not allowed to be president. The guy running the machines is saying this to us, that just let Hillary off. Stay there, sir. You're going to have the floor when we come back. Ladies and gentlemen, he has a lot of the breaking news, but this is just incredible that this early. I knew Homeland Security was going to be involved doing it. But now they're just like, we have to protect it from hackers. The Russians want to steal it. If Trump wins, the Putin did it. Oh, and let's not forget, I said who's leading the resistance against the New World Order. Front and center, it is Vladimir Putin. Because he's a nationalist, folks. He's not in our business. We'll be back. Stay with us. So get ready for the propaganda. You're going to see it tonight on the news because it's put out by the White House, regurgitated by Media Matters, and then loaded into the teleprompters from CNN to MSNBC to ABC to NBC. The Russians are going to steal the election with hackers. They've already started planting these fake seeds. But Homeland Security is going to go in there and save us from it by sitting over the tabulation. Oh, and by the way, we're going to use spooks from the most secretive organization there basically is. This is Reuters reporting this. The OSCE, the Security Services Directive Agreement of the Marshall Plan. Let me tell you what the Marshall Plan was. Stuff like putting 1 million Germans in a concentration camp and letting them starve to death. I mean, it was hardcore martial law in Germany and other areas for many years. This is the actual guts of the shadow robber baron world government. And here's Reuters. 500 monitors, 10 times what they had in 2012, with Justice Department power. And I have mainstream news saying the UN to run our police now. Here's this. Obama administration and UN announced global police force to fight extremism, wait for it, in the U.S. They're looking at starting a civil war, boys and girls. The entire setup's there. And I know I've been harping on this forever, but this is really happening. I'm going to go to Roger Stone here because, again, he's the guy that got Donald Trump over the years, really pushed him to run. Donald, of course, did it himself, former head of his campaign. He knows the mind of Donald Trump. But now it's so clear that Donald Trump is a patriot, is a champion, is a nationalist, and the whole global crime syndicate is doing everything they can to stop him. U.S. News & World Report has articles out about what happens if he dies. Then the election's canceled. Very creepy stuff. They are telegraphing threats. This is an over-the-top time to be alive. And just finishing up here, Jay Johnson says, I'm going to disqualify Trump, and now he says, I'm going to run the election. And Obama says, there's no such thing as election fraud. What's that? Besides, the feds don't run elections. As he comes in with executive action, Infowars.com, Washington Examiner, WorldNet Daily, Breitbart, but it's all directly linked to them. Homeland Eye's special declaration to take charge of elections. And now you see the internet being censored. You now see patriots being censored. You now see leaked memos reveal Soros' plan for federally controlled police, themselves directed by the UN. And libertarian and patriot conservative sites not allowed to operate in the web of the future. Kicking us off the web, putting us into non-electronic gulags. Going to Roger Stone, I want to talk about how we stop this, what we do. For me, Roger, this signifies very, very serious desperation. Even their tweaked polls in the LA Times show him a point or more ahead. A lot of the algorithms, as you know, show him winning handily. I know you like to be a pessimist just to be safe, but am I wrong in saying they're panicking right now? And doesn't this backfire when they all say, you're disqualified, you can't be president, and then they come in after Donald and others, as I said earlier, we needed to raise this early before they came in and took it over. We raised it, now they come in. This looks like they've really stepped in it, Mr. Stone. Give us your expert analysis.
Sure, Alex. What all of this means to me is that they have every intention of trying to rig this election, and they're now trying to put the best possible face on it, dress it up. I think Trump has signaled them very strongly that if he is robbed, he does not intend to walk away. If there is hardcore admissible evidence of a rigged election, that he's going to dispute the election. So they're trying to dress up the results.
And you are building an army, and we are building an army to have exit polls and analysis. They know we're serious.
Interestingly enough, the only hacking that's going on is the hacking of us. Yesterday, Senate Majority Leader Harry Brown wrote to the FBI demanding that they investigate me and the Russians, which is laughable.
Told you that was coming.
Regarding whether we have obtained certain Democratic Party documents through hacking. Let's be clear. There is no evidence that the Russians have hacked anyone yet. The DNC documents that indicted Deborah Wasserman Schultz and showed that Hillary stole the nomination from Bernie came from Crucifer 2 in the original hacking and then were authenticated by WikiLeaks. No Russian involvement.
And Guccifer 1 was not Russian. Look, it's been confirmed that it's actually U.S. intelligence agencies actively doing this because they know there's a foreign takeover of the country. And this is amazing. I mean, this is incredible.
Yeah, an extraordinary piece in the Financial Times yesterday documenting the involvement of the Ukrainian billionaire, Viktor Pinchuk, his ties to the Clinton campaign, and the fraudulent campaign used to smear Paul Manafort. The ledger that alleges payments to Manafort, a forgery by Ukrainian intelligence. Yes, there's foreign interference in our elections, but it's not by the Russians. It's by the paid allies like Soros, like the Ukrainians.
Sure, that's a Soros operation. Ukraine is their new headquarters. They've taken it over. They're stealing the gas, stealing the money, stealing the bonds, looting everything. And what did Soros say? He goes, I want to take over Ukraine to get a new Marshall Plan that'll fund my operations. He doesn't even hide it. He bankrupts it. He gets the new Marshall Plan. and then takes over.
And really what's extraordinary here is the chutzpah of the Clinton people saying Trump is in bed with Putin when it's the Clintons who sold Putin control of our uranium production. It's the Clintons who have done favors for the oligarchs who are supporting.
And by the way, even the Huffington Post is reporting this. It's strange they're even telling the truth. I mean, Hillary gets $35 million from the Russians to get 1/5 our uranium. That's treason. Can you imagine if Trump did something like this?
Well, what's amazing here is that your activities, my activities, the folks at stopthesteal.org, the folks who watch InfoWars, the watchers of Breitbart and Daily Caller and so on, we are under their skin. They attacked you by name last week, the Democratic candidate for president. They attacked me the week before, saying that I am a right-wing conspiracy theorist. No, I'm a conspiracy realist. I deal in facts. And the fact is, they are prepared to steal this election. They are prepared to rig these machines. The Clinton Foundation is a slush fund, and more precisely, a vehicle for the facilitation of multi-billion-dollar bribes in which everything in our foreign policy was essentially for sale. So to the extent that there's foreign interference in our elections, it is by Victor Pinchuk and
absolutely, and it's admitted. So let's stop right there. This isn't tooting our horn. It's letting the listeners understand this and know this. Infowars.com, Alex Jones, Matt Drudge, DrudgeReport.com, a constellation of other groups who deserve credit as well, WorldNet Daily, Daily Caller, Breitbart in a big way. They always try to demonize us and act like we're discredited because they're actually so scared of our narrative because it's actually historical and accurate, and what CENTCOM knows is true and what generals all over the place like Flynn and others know. I mean, the entire military basically now knows there's a foreign takeover. They get it. They are linking up. They're aware of what's happening. And I really think that the folks up top who've stolen the country are starting to realize how much trouble they're actually in and how many crimes they've actually committed as more emails come out that Hillary wasn't just selling access to the president through her foundation, but to the Chinese president. That is a whole nother level of insanity. I mean, these people are crazy. Look at how she kept stuff on her private server, knowing it would be hacked. I mean, it does seem like they're incredibly reckless, Roger Stone. What do you make of their position right now and the fact that they tried to demonize you and I and Drudge and others? Trump took all these messages and truth and his own ideas, busted through it all, and now they're in panic mode because everything we've said has been legitimized. The extremists are now the gold standard. We're not the extremists. We're what's left of America. We understand what's happening. So all I'm letting the listeners know is this is the brain trust. Why are they panicking so much? Where do we go next, Roger Stone?
Well, notice the entire campaign of personal vituperation, personal attacks. You see, when they can't refute your arguments, and they're worried that you're starting to communicate the truth about how they intend to steal this election and about how the mainstream media is entirely one-sided, you get attacked personally. They've attacked you, they've attacked me, they attacked Stephen K. Bannon, manufacturing.
They're doing incredibly dirty things behind the scenes right now, folks. Just saying.
Right. And it's all personal. One of my very close associates, Christian Josie, longtime conservative activist, hacked as soon as he came to work for me. His email, his bank accounts, his social media contacts. All he did was go online and tell the truth. Bill Clinton is a serial sexual predator, and Hillary has acted as an accessory.
So they're bullying, it's not working. What do they do next? How do these slime bags, these cornered rats, what do they do next?
Well, I think it's very clear. They're going to continue the war of personal attacks. They're going to try to make Donald Trump into Barry Goldwater, 1964. He's mentally unstable. He's unfit.
You predicted that. Now the main drum is he's mentally ill, and Hillary obviously is mentally ill.
Yeah, it's very clear that anything they say about Trump turns out, ironically, to be true about their own candidate. Folks will be able to get Trump's measure in these debates. They'll be able to see whether or not he is capable of the big job. He's been very disciplined on the campaign trail. He's been on offense. She's on defense. The polls are closing quickly nationally. There's a little lag in the key states, but the whole point here is This is a viable race. The media is going to be telling us now for the next 60 days, it's over, Trump's a loser, it's going to be a landslide. They're trying to set an expectation level for the subsequent rigging of the elections. Read the Stanford study, read the Princeton study, read the study by Professor Robert Fitrakis at Ohio State Community College. These are learned men. These are not right-wing kooks. They will all tell you how easy it is to rig these machines.
Sure, Roger. I understand you do probably 20 interviews a day. And you're killing yourself. You're amazing. And you're educating our audience. But our audience is extremely educated in all this. We're talking strategy here with you, my friend, with the actual soldiers, the sergeants, the captains, the colonels, the generals, and in so many cases, I mean literal generals, as you know, that understand, we understand, they understand, we're on target. You know, this is real analysis, real info. We're sitting here in a big, basically war encampment around the big table in the tent. Strategy, our strategy, the enemy strategy. We don't have to hide our strategy. We wear it on our shoulder. You know, tell the truth. But I mean, do you agree with me that the enemy is floundering right now and really making desperate moves, revealing their open plan to bring in multinationals to oversee the election with the Justice Department and the Homeland Security that say they're not going to let Trump be president? This is so naked. Let's talk about that. And then what do we do if they do try to steal it in the battleground states?
War. Well, I think this has several parts, Alex. First of all, they are going to have the full force and budget of the federal government.
They're going to shoot him. They're going to fucking JFK his
and,
ass.
as I said, we have to watch.
Hey, I love Donald
So that's the real
Trump.
announcement. Homeland
And then
Security,
there's
run by
nobody.
foreign multinationals, is announcing they're going to steal the election. I mean, that's all this is. They're now announcing they're going to come in and steal it.
And I've now determined that
It's like that black guy came in 1990 and started talking about, we need to uncensor people and just practically brainwash them every day. The guns are bad for you. They're evil. They're
level. So
there. Don't believe me, research it.
More smoothly. The campaign of personal attack and vituperation is going to continue.
That's how I started listening to that man,
Alex.
Donald
I'm
Trump.
not running for president. You're not
He
running
challenged
for president.
me.
She is running.
Look, it's an honor to be
I
lied
don't
about
take
and attacked
nobody's
by
fucking
Tony Scott.
challenge
Well,
lightly.
let's be clear.
I said,
George
fuck you, pay
Soros
me.
is giving the traitor misfit, David Brock, a man who would make Joseph Goebbels proud when it comes to lies and disinformation, $30 million to go on Twitter, to go on Facebook, to spread
gonna make you my
disinformation
queen.
about us personally, but about this election, about the Clinton Foundation, and so on.
But
we
you
have
had
to
to
rely
run your
on
mouth like
volunteers.
every
That's
other
why I
house.
beseech patriots. Go to stopthesteal.org. We need you to volunteer.
Trump is building an army. We're building an army. And let's be clear, folks. We're not bragging. We want you to understand this is the equivalent of the X-Wings going down the trench.
See that? That's how we roll.
This is history. This is for all the marbles.
See
This
that?
is
That's
the
how we
highest
roll.
levels. We are engaging them. I haven't even plugged this out. Everyone must go to InfoWarsStore.com to get a Hillary for President shirt.
Take over
at
the
cost,
world.
$9.95. That includes shipping. Everyone must go there and get a Bill Clinton red shirt for $19.95. That helps fund our operation, helps fund Roger out in the nose spending his own money. We are totally committed, folks. I am ready to go through whatever I have to. Okay, and they've threatened me well. Don't worry. I am 110% committed. I've never had private security. I got it right now, okay? That's the level. In fact, we can show Twitter, one of the security guys. It's a large security company and works for one of the top former generals. But I'm going to stop right there. Just understand, ladies and gentlemen, that you can go to my Twitter and show folks a Q. This is what we're dealing with. This is real. This isn't going and seeing the movie The Godfather where the mafia is doing stuff. This is real. This is multinationals conquering the country. We need your financial support. You need selenium. We have the best bioavailable form, super low price.
that guy's still
$19.95.
fucking alive?
Nobody's got this. Is just be $50. Okay, totally organic. Most stuff synthetic. You need to get the Super Mel Vitality. You need to get the Vitamin Mineral Fusion, 20% off. You need to get Super Mel Vitality. You need to get Lung Cleanse. You need to get the bone and joint formulas. You need to go and get strategic relocation. You need to buy the videos. You need to support us. You need to send the links out. You need to spread the word. You need to go to Stone Zone. You need to go to Stone Cold Truth. Got a new website. You need to understand this is a total war. StoneColdTruth.com. This is a total commitment. You want to be an American? You want to fight the New World Order? You want somebody to march on Washington? We're marching with Donald Trump. We marched in Cleveland. We marched in Philadelphia. We're battling in the streets, communists spitting and hitting us and saying we should die. We are, and I'm not bitching. I want this fight. I love it. The point is that we're committed. We're doing everything we can peacefully. We're going through hell, and I love it. Because this is the animating contest for liberty. But I'm just saying, we need you to realize you are the guts and the heart and the blood of this operation, and the brains and the eyes and the soul and the will. And so I want our coffers against these enemies, because I can tell. I mean, it's a lot of crap going on. I mean, they are really serious. We're fighting hardcore mafias, okay? That brag about 500,000 kids dying, you know, under the Clintons in Iraq being a good price to pay. These are demons that no one's ever called. We're calling them. We know who they are. We've built the platforms to fight them. We are fighting them. We need you to support us. Get Stone's books at InfoWarsStore.com. Get them on his website. Spread them. But you understand, this is war bonds. This is 21st century war, and we are soldiers on the front lines. Roger.
Yeah, we need hardcore volunteers. If you can't help us in the exit polls, if you can't be a poll watcher, send us $25, send us $50. Help fund the operation, because when this election is over...
Wars aren't cheap, people!
It's not enough to say we were robbed with no evidence. But if there is admissible evidence that this election was stolen, then there will be widespread civil disobedience in the
That's right. These bastards know we're not going down, and Trump's not going down. Stay there, Roger. This is epic. Roger Stone's our guest. One final segment with him. Then we've got a lot of other guests joining us in analysis. But if you just tuned in, I'll recap the huge news. Homeland Security, basically under civil emergency, is going to take over the election. Obama said they're not involved, though. Whoa. Trump at 2:30 today is going to be meeting with the Mexican president, Central. Then flying up to Arizona. The guy is a war machine against tyranny. The stamina, but just totally presidential. And they look at this guy that doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, exercises, fuels himself on red meat. Pure Americana. And they just are pulling their hair out. Roger Stone is our guest. I cannot stress enough that now is the time to spread the word. The world is listening. How obvious is it with Obama saying there's no such thing as election fraud, the feds aren't involved? And then the feds announced basically a civil emergency over critical infrastructure to protect the election, and are coming in to take it over because they're worried about hackers when they're the ones, the federal government and others, that have been caught stealing elections. We've had Diebold chief engineers testify to Congress on this. So just what Roger Stone, so astute, listen to him. He said a month ago on this show repeatedly, watch the watchers, watch Homeland Security, watch Jay Johnson, Loretta Lynch, watch if they send a bunch of people in, that's who'll steal it. And now they want to protect it all of a sudden. And that shows they're making this risky move because they know Trump is pulling ahead. 5 minutes left. Thank you for your time, Roger Stone. Other points you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think we're at a crucial juncture here in which they're trying to set the narrative in advance so that they can get away with stealing this election. Look, you have a number of events that are going to roil this race. I'm absolutely convinced that Julian Assange and the folks at WikiLeaks have the equivalent of political dynamite that they intend to drop on the Clintons between now and the election. So now suddenly David Brock, Media Matters for America, correct the record, which should be distort the record. Now suddenly we're questioning the credibility of Assange. He's a conspiracy theorist. He's a nut, even though
these are admitted documents that prove Hillary is commanding the media.
Right. So where the documents came from is really immaterial. It's what the documents say, because none of these leaks have ever been questioned in terms of their authenticity.
Well, even real liberals like Greenwald are coming out and saying Hillary's a complete monster because she is.
These emails are the equivalent of the Watergate tapes. They're indelible, they're out there, and they're going to come back.
They're worse. They're more powerful.
In the ass.
They're more powerful. What do they do then when these come out? Start a new war? I mean, how are they going to try to distract from all this, Roger?
Well, first of all, their friends in the mainstream media will attempt to minimize it. You can already see the drumbeat now questioning the
Russians. It's Russians.
Right, it's Assange. He's releasing the truth to help the Russians. I want to know what the truth is. I mean, Putin's not a dumb man. He understands that Hillary's word is no good. He knows that Hillary is a liar. He knows that no negotiation he has.
Hillary loves failed states and is evil.
And he knows that Trump is for a period of détente. Trump wants peace. Trump is the peace candidate.
And that's horrible. So they say he wants nuclear war. He wants peace, so he wants nuclear war. She wants war, so she's good.
And he, frankly, would like to have a period of hard-headed negotiations after which we could coordinate our activities with the Russians.
Exactly. And he knows China is the one screwing us over, not the Russians.
Well, like Nixon, he's prepared to play them off against each other in the best interests of the United States, as opposed to the Obama-Clinton foreign policy, which is bending over for them.
Getting back to Trump and his view on Russia, I mean, you're saying, obviously, from just your research, obviously not from talking to him, that he would like to work with Russia. That would be great. Imagine a world, the globalists for 100 years, the robber barons have always tried to stop us from linking up to Russia. Doesn't that make perfect sense?
Well, look, economic opportunity is what got them out of the gulag, and capitalism works. That's why they have to use it to reform their system. Putin is a nationalist. Trump is a nationalist.
Hold on, 70 seconds. I know you have another interview. We'll do 5 more with us and we'll let you go. Roger Stone's our guest. I'm Alex Jones. The feds are announcing, well, Obama's announcing he's taking control of the election. He's taking control of the election. Obama. The same people that no-billed Hillary. This is unbelievable. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. For a corporate, eugenics-based world government to ever take control, it would have to do so by stealth. Their own Canada 2007 documents say by stealth. We must keep this secret. With world leaders meeting, with corporate leaders. You can't put that genie back in the bottle. And if you're receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. I've said for decades here, I know they're ridiculing me and attacking me, but I know when their plans start going into place, my credibility will explode. But that isn't what matters. The time bombs were already planted politically.
My God, look at it light up like a Christmas tree.
And so you can't even kill the messengers at this point. Going back to Roger Stone, how do they set up the world government, the UN takeover of the internet next month? George Soros saying only his groups will be able to be on the web. All this megalomania of these narcissists and borderline personality disorders and sociopaths and psychopaths. I mean, look, there were a lot smarter crazies like Hitler and Napoleon that got their butts kicked. I really smell defeat and almost death on these people. I just hope they don't take us all with them. But what about, in closing, and any other final points, Roger Stone of StoneColdTruth.com? I just think history's against us, what I'm saying.
Well, this explains the uptick in the bully boy tactics. I mean, 3 people who worked for me have now been hacked. These same 3 people tell me that they believe they're under around-the-clock surveillance, a dark car with smoked windows outside their homes. These are just IT people. The death threats have ticked up sharply. I got a nice email this morning. It said, the Clintons have killed many people who get in their way. You are next. Very nice, very heartwarming.
Yeah, well, they don't send the black cars around anymore because a few times, you know, things happen, but...
Well, you live in an open carry state. I do not. But the point here...
somebody pulls out a black car, I mean, I go over and start talking to them. But yeah, go ahead.
The greatest single mistake of those who are running the country and indeed the world was when they allowed the legalization and the widespread of the internet. We have found each other. We are together. We're in touch. Now when they talk about regulating the internet, that means shutting it down. That means censoring it.
His own email says he wants to shut us down. Stone?
Too late. We know how to find each other and we're ready to march. The toothpaste cannot be put back in the tube.
So what do they do? Hopefully they back off and are smart, but they're not going to. What do we do when they try to steal the election? We should do a whole show on this.
If they steal this election, Alex, I predict to you they will not be able to hold on to it.
I agree.
They, not we, they are going to cause a constitutional crisis.
And by the way, you were the #2 in command taking it away. I mean, who knows who really won from Gore. I mean, you're somebody that does this.
Well, in that case, we don't really know who won that election. It's actually impossible to decipher, and therefore a war of tactics and superior strategy awarded that election to George W. Bush.
And that's why they're so scared of you.
Well, the fact that he then led us into the Iraq War is one of the
I know you hate him, and you've gone public ever since then. I mean, you're for marijuana legalization. You're more of a libertarian. I mean, you're a good guy.
I'm still asking my God for forgiveness for what I've done for the Bushes. I was blind, but the scales...
And look at how they're in bed with the Clintons. So you're really battling the Bushes now. You're trying to get your soul back.
Right, because it's the same criminal combine. This is the Bush-Clinton crime family. Read my books.
No, I agree with you, and you don't say that. I'll tell you the thing about Roger Stone. This is a great guy because he is so accurate. He doesn't tell you what you want to hear. He really tells you what he really thinks is going on. And 9 times out of, it's just, I'd say nine times out of 100, he's dead on. I agree with you. They're not going to, if they steal this, it's their undoing. They will not be able to keep it in their hands.
Agreed. Alex, we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Or anytime you want to pop in, Roger Stone, anytime. StoneColdTruth.com. Get his books at InfoWarsStore.com and get the Bill Clinton rape shirt he designed at InfoWarsStore.com as well. Thank you so much, Roger.
Great to be here.
If you're going to punch the Clintons in the nose politically, why not go all the way? And we've done that here. We are all in 100% commitment.
Yeah!
Reignited. What an unbelievable interview yesterday with Nigel Farage. One blind spot we have here at InfoWars is we'll have huge breaking news on our own show, and then I make a big deal out of it because we're so humble. And that's why I've been telling the listeners and viewers that InfoWars is so successful at changing the global narrative, at exposing the New World Order, the corporate tyranny, the crony capitalist system. I don't get up there and say, hey, by the way, we're the tip of the spear, you're the tip of the spear, just as hyperbole. I say it because it's true, and I'm always, in the last few years, been too humble to say it, but we need to say it to understand the nature of the war we're in. So I want to salute you. I want to commend you. I want to thank you. We've been playing with this voice changer piece of equipment so that members of the media, whistleblowers can call in and speak without their voice being recognized.
Really wanted it to work
Is
out.
that hooked up and ready yet, guys? Good it is.
Now bow.
I want to open the phones up because one of the biggest groups we get contacted by is people in mainstream media, and I mean inside Rolling Stone,
Don't look at me
inside
like that.
MSNBC, inside CNN,
Don't look
inside
at
Fox
me like
News,
that.
inside everything.
You brought
A lot
this
of times
on
they get
your
mad
own.
because I can't call them back or whatever. And a lot of times they're reporters, they're researchers, they're journalists, they're writers, and they get pissed like, this is really important. Alex can't call me. And sometimes they're prominent people. And I'm just like, man, there's stacks of this coming in. Just give us the information. And we will not say who you are. In fact, we delete the stuff out of the email once we get it or the things like that. We have all sorts of procedures. Not that we're perfect. Nobody is. And we're under major attack, so God knows what's going to happen. Just pray for us. But, in fact, will you guys bring me our local number? I don't have a copy of it in the studio, thanks. I want to open the phones up so members of the media, I forget about the idea for this last week, it's a great idea, can call in and actually talk about what you witnessed, talk about what you've seen, talk about what you've been told to do. Because when you see every newspaper in the country every day doing nothing but attacking Trump, and they don't even put in another op-ed saying something nice about Trump, when the coverage is 100 to 1, and I mean that when I say it, I mean it's 100 to 1 against Trump, totally distorted, you know you're dealing with a country in deep trouble. And you're dealing with a power structure that is in full panic, who has robbed us up one side and down the other. So here's your chance. You can call right into our phone system, and it is absolutely anonymous. You can go on air, and you can give us a brief account of what you're witnessing. Maybe you agree with the system, and you'll obviously be able to call in. But we'll be able to tell when we take the call if you're really a media person because you'll be well-spoken, focused, and have information. We're not obviously vetting and saying all these are 100% real media calls. But the point is that if you've got whistleblower information about the media and you want us to expose that, see, they've got all these government, quote, protections around tyranny now in the name of national security, but there's nothing that says people in the media can't whistleblow, even though the media is operating as the propaganda force of these offshore multinationals that have hijacked the country. 877-789-ALEX, 877-789-2539. And that's 877-789-2539. 877-789-2539. If you don't want to voice change yourself when you're with the media, maybe you think they won't notice who you are or whatever, I don't think that's probably a smart move. You can call the network number. Or maybe you can call it on your own system. A lot of folks have voice changers on their phones. You can do that as well. And that number is the standard number, 800-259-9231. But 877-789-ALEX is the number to call in. We'll be taking your calls coming up at the bottom of the hour. If you just joined us, the globalists have made a critical error. They have been operating their
I'm just doing a random
program as if they were still the 1980s or 70s.
Oh my God, are you
And
serious?
they believe they've had air superiority with the dinosaur collaborator media, discrediting or attempting to discredit or spinning true independent media that's exposing their crimes. And they made an even bigger error in a string of them when I came out over a month ago and had a special message to Donald Trump dealing with election fraud. I personally talked to him as well, obviously. And he didn't so much do what I told him to do. He already concurred and absolutely was on the same page and was already right there with me or even ahead of me. But I encouraged him to basically ignore some of the people telling him not to go with that and to go all the way, because if they stole it from Sanders and they try to steal it from him nakedly in the primaries, and they've got a history of it, that Homeland Security was going to go in and probably bring in UN observers to make sure illegals and people could vote and change the debate away from election fraud to retail voter fraud, which is individuals cheating rather than the computers being hacked. And I said, you got to do it while you're still way ahead in the polls, because they're going to start skewing the polls, obviously, and saying you're behind. That's a standard tactic. You need to go now with this information so that when you're actually still ahead, you talk about the fraud. You'll be ahead all the way through, but they're going to put out the fake polls that you're way behind to actually create that perception. And obviously Trump was right there. And Trump did it. That's why they're so scared of him. I mean, they are having to put on adult diapers over this guy, okay? And obviously Trump has his own experts who tell him the same thing. He's really smart. He understands how things operate. They already tried to steal it from him. He stood up and contested it, so he got it. Sanders didn't, so he lost it. And then Trump comes out 2 days after I talked to him and after I put the message out. I talked to him that day. And then I came in, I called Rob Jacobson up. He was on that weekend. I said, we're shooting a video of a message to Trump. I said, it's really a message to the people. I've already delivered the message to Trump that day. But we're gonna put this video out explaining this to people and showing the fraud that's already happened and the fact, you know, the history of fraud and the fact that Trump has to build an army to fight election fraud, which he's now doing. And that's why they are in a conniption fit to send in their federal army to say, no, we're the feds and the UN. We say we didn't steal it. Go listen to the KKK/Russian Trump people. I mean, you talk about conspiracy theory. That is ridiculous. Russia can barely operate its country and feed its people under economic sanctions. The idea that Russia is pulling my, let me tell you what's pulling my strings. My conscience and my commitment to this nation. We've already been conquered by globalist multinationals. We're not being conquered by the Russians. The same globalists that have conquered us are trying to reconquer Russia right now. Just like the Germans, the Nazis attacked the United States and the Russians, same deal. This time it's not Uncle Joe Stalin who was evil, so you kind of go, ooh, what do I do? It's not, they're not. This is so incredible, ladies and gentlemen. Think about this. Russia kicked all these oligarchs out that had been managing the communists for 80-something years. Putin starts arresting them. They're always Rockefeller and Rothschild fronts. The Rothschilds sue over it. It comes out in court. The British High Court goes, this actually proves everything they said about you. You're horrible. Imagine a judge standing up to Lord Rothschild. You can go read the articles and saying this case actually proved not just that your case of slander and libel fails against these newspapers, but this really shows what you did to Russia. The exact same people are gang raping this country right now. So of course Russia's sitting there watching it. The globalists occupy the U.S., use all our force against them while they're screwing us over. The Russians are just bleeding out, flopping around on the ground. The New World Order is just running all these desperate jihadis all over the planet, slaughtering people, destabilizing us. They're breaking our families down. They're bankrupting us. They've imploded our borders. We are falling, just like 1917 in Russia, people. They're going to come after everybody. You understand how screwed we are? This is not a game. This is not a radio show. The reason all the former brass expelled by Obama listen to the show because it's the only place they can tune in and hear something that resembles the truth. Not because they're learning anything from me. They already know it. Even current generals tell me and others, and my father when he was in the media, that this show is basically 100% accurate on what's going on. It's not hard to be 100% accurate. The very same robber baron families that took over Russia and were financed in 1917 are literally gang raping us right now. And Trump knows all this. Trump gets it. He's going, we got these globalists, New World Order people, we got the Chinese, we're cleaning you out. And they know what Trump said. He's going to arrest Hillary. Oh, yeah, you know what? It's on, folks. You know why Trump's so confident? He knows what's going to happen if they try to pull some big coup thing, counter coup against this. I'm telling you, folks, we are sitting on top a mountain of TNT right now. And nobody's blinking. We're going in, through, and beyond. I remember when they would have all these articles, even in local papers, saying, Jones is crazy. He claims there's secret army drills happen. I'd have video of the black helicopters and drills. I wasn't against the military. They would also say that. I was just like, no, these drills are going on. Stop denying you're doing it. And Clinton was doing it not to train people, but to acclimate the public, the troops on the streets. Clinton was thinking about martial law. It's come out. I've interviewed Thomas Sanchez, the head of emergency management in Kingsville, the San Antonio police chief at the time, Ali Philippus, and others. When they were approached and asked, would they support Clinton in a martial law takeover? And of course, all that did was educate the Delta Force, who they had going around trying to sell everybody on this, because who better than these strong, patriot, really smart soldiers to do the corruption? There's nothing new under the sun. That's what Julius Caesar would use, would be like famous war heroes to go corrupt people. They redid it in the HBO special Rome, where he hires the war hero guy to go do the corruptions. He goes, you're getting him so cheaply. I need to have you do all my corruptions. But as they thought they were corrupting people, they were only educating everyone. So good luck with your plan for gun confiscation. Good luck for your plan with civil war.
Nice.
They're trying to prime a race war. Just like they used civil unrest in Ukraine to overthrow it. This is George Soros' quantum garbage. Now, let's go to these clips again if you just joined us, because we've had dozens and dozens of callers call in, but no media yet. It's media right now, folks. Only media that want to talk about what it's like working in establishment media. Or maybe you disagree with me in your establishment media. Media matters, you call it, but they never do anything real. They're also scripted, so controlled. 877-789-ALEX, 877-789-2539. And folks calling in who aren't media, don't let us get to the other folks that are, so please don't call right now if you're not media. Now, continuing. Here is Obama a month ago, before Hillary named the name that not be named. Oh, that's out of Texas. Oh, the feds aren't involved in elections. Now they're announcing the feds, Homeland Security, Obama, Jay Johnson, to take over elections is being announced. Homeland I's special declaration to take charge of elections. The Department of Homeland Security began considering declaration of the election as a critical infrastructure and now says they want to do it. And they're already over it, bringing in UN and EU, OECD watchers. Let's go ahead and go to Lord Obama.
Of course, the elections will not be rigged. What does that mean? The federal government doesn't run the election process. States and cities and communities all across the country, they're the ones who set up the voting systems.
Oh, really?
Voting booths. And if Mr. Trump is suggesting that there is a conspiracy theory that is being propagated across the country, including in places like Texas, where typically it's not Democrats who are in charge of voting booths.
Oh, yeah? They're so arrogant that they think they're going to win Texas. They're stealing everything. Okay, now suddenly Homeland Security is going to run the elections, though. Because people now know it's mainstream media that announces who wins, the fraud's out, people are watching. So now they're going to come in for more legitimacy. It's not AP now, and CNN, it's Jay Johnson. when Loretta Lynch isn't meeting with Clinton on an airplane, she's running her elections. So let's go ahead now and go to this other clip. This is Jay Johnson projecting onto Trump everything he is. The guy that's going to run the election says you can't have Trump. He's disqualified. There's no conflict of interest. He shouldn't recuse himself. And again, I'm a Chinese jet pilot. Here it is.
As the Secretary of Homeland Security, I have avoided responding to the political season and what candidates have said running for president. However, I believe that it's the responsibility of those of us in national security and homeland security when a leading candidate for office proposes something that is irresponsible, probably illegal, unconstitutional, and contrary to international law, un-American, and will actually hurt our efforts at homeland security and national security. We have to speak out.
And he goes on to demonize Trump. Why don't you then have feds oversee elections? Well, I've actually met a lot of the feds. They're actually more awake than the public. They're totally freaked out. I'm not defending all the stuff they do, but I mean, they got to bring foreigners in.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex
We'll be
Jones
back.
and the GCN Radio Network.
Oh, my God. In the movie V for Vendetta, towards the end, when the police inspector is meeting with V in a disguise, he doesn't know it's V till the end. He says, why didn't you do something about this before? Why didn't you take action? Why didn't you stop this false flag bioweapon attack? Why did you expose it? He said, I was waiting for you, Inspector. I was waiting for you. Very powerful movie. I really admire the Wachowski brother and sister for their work because it really says it all, doesn't it? That movie is so powerful. I'm waiting for you, you're waiting for me. And again, it's the minute the police understand the larger criminal conspiracy of the globalists, which they write books about, they think we're dumb. It's over. That's why they want us to have a war with police. That's why they tried to corrupt the police. Because then they can come in multinationally and purge the police and be big heroes and have these truth and reconciliation commissions the UN has and then bring in total tyranny. And then the police are going to sit back and allow the persecution of patriots, just like YouTube. If you just joined us, a woman who's a feminist, a pretty big feminist, does a feminist journal, a publication, runs groups, is a horrible example for women, in my view. There's an Asian guy with a hula girl, tastefully dressed on his dashboard, just for fun, you know, happy thing. Not degrading Hawaiians. Anymore, we had a bobblehead of a cowboy or something. I mean, it's just something fun to be, hey, you're in my cab. She bullies him for 6-7 minutes, cusses at him, tells him she's going to basically ruin his career, put him on Gawker. I can't wait to hurt you. I can't wait to hurt you. YouTube Community Guidelines Organization concurred and removed Laura Southern's YouTube channel. She's challenging it because she said this woman's a bully when she's clearly a bully. So speaking out against their bullying, and that's the YouTube diversity team. Gil White. I bet Gil White's white. I'm not bashing white people, but I'm telling you, the worst social justice warriors, the most commissariat, abusive, getting off on it, race baiting controllers are the white college students that George Soros sends do the chants, deck the halls with dead cops. And then when one of the black teenagers actually shoots a cop, they get killed and their lives ruined. The Soros piece of filth just scurries off into the dark. Those are the people that grand juries need to start indicting. Indict the asses of these college students that are calling for murder. They're organizing crime. If I did that, I'd be arrested like that. By the way, I don't call for it because I want to bring everybody together. But I'll say this, I'm not somebody that shoots my mouth off about physical stuff. But the New World Order obviously knows. I mean, if you think we've begun to fight so far with the hacks and everything and risking our lives and not caring what you do to us, can you imagine if you actually ever take the gloves off for real? I mean, you people are crazy. There won't be anywhere in the world you can hide. Nowhere. Ever. You have successfully pissed off more than 10 million veterans who are below the age of 55. They're almost all becoming experts on who you are and what you do. And they aren't people that are bloodthirsty. They just are hoping we can fix things peacefully if we can. You're going to last as long as a bottle of red wine in a hobo encampment. And I don't take any pleasure imagining rotting, demonic piles of filth dying. I just want you out of my life. I want you to go back to the catacombs where you came from. I mean, I don't like, my life isn't about some pissing contest to beat the New World Order just because I want to beat you. I want you off our back. Understand that? And I'm committed, and I've put my will and my spirit, everything I've got against you. And you can feel it, can't you? Because here's the little secret. Good people have more will and more guts and more spirit than you evil people do any day. And you know that. That's why you've always been trying to brain damage us at birth and make us as stupid as possible while you don't give vaccines to your kids. So you hope your little stunted demon kids can beat us in the real world. It's not happening. And the fact that we're aware of who you are, you realize that we've got our arm, like Beowulf, around your arm. And we're not letting go. So you take us wherever you're taking us. But see, you're going with us. It's like that intro we had earlier. Maybe we should play it again in the next segment. I'm coming down fast, but I'm miles above you. You understand that? Yes, you've taken me down. You've taken my family down. You've hurt me. And I'm going to hurt you right back. Here's the thing. I'm hurting you a lot worse than hurting me. And you know that, don't you? Because I will never back down to you people. And you see, this is just the beginning. Just like tyrants fall every time, you are going to fall. And you're going to be an example to everyone else on how to not be a scumbag. And I'll be honest with you, more and more, because the epic energy that's rising right now, I get tears in my eyes. It's not even tears of sadness or pain. It's tears of joy. Of joy. Because since the foundations of this earth were laid down, this contest was meant to happen. And this contest has happened over and over again, but we are in a time of the greatest contest this species has ever faced. And we're entering the crucible right now. And I am so humbled to be at the center of the crucible. And I'm going to tell you, our listeners and our viewers and our affiliates and the station managers and our sponsors and everyone, you are just as important as Donald Trump or Matt Drudge or myself. That's something Matt Drudge, I've learned, tells reporters all the time that are independent for decades. You're just as important as the New York Times. You're just as important as the Washington Post. You matter. You're important. I tell my crew that. It's not arrogance. We need to realize we're more important. They're sold out known liars. We want to tell the truth. Damn it, we hate it when we make a mistake. We want to be honest. I want to be good. Because it feels so good to be good and to be closer to God. And Lord knows I take the Lord's name in vain. I cuss. I do bad things. It's just who I am. I lust after women. I eat too much. I do it all. But you know, at the end of the day, my soul's pointed towards God like a North Star. It's not pointed towards wanting to screw people over, wanting to dumb people down, wanting to pray and have big, huge hordes of poor people. What the hell is that? We don't need to be ruled by that. But we have to wake up to it if we're ever going to change it. We got a news reporter, Julio in Illinois. We're going to go to him in a moment. I actually know this reporter. He's leaked a lot of stuff to us over the years. Worked in TV, radio, you name it. And so he's the only reporter that has the courage to call in. We've had hundreds of calls come in now. No reporters will call in. You send us stuff whenever you're scared to call in. We even have a voice changer. No need to change Julio's voice. Julio's been calling in for 10 years, since he was a college student. But since I'm, in the interest of time, I'm not going to even belabor this. Buy the Hillary for President t-shirts at cost. Spread the word. Bioavailable. Selenium, everybody needs it. It's amazing. Talk about an energy booster. Electrochemical, goes with the X2, makes an iodine. 20% off the great vitamin mineral fusion amino acid fruit punch drink we have that's so, again, absorbable, great for your kids to drink. Send them to school with it. You name it. We need to fund the operation. That's what everybody knows. I mean, I can just sit there and say, send me, donations, whatever.
Ouch.
The point is, we need funds to fund this operation. We're doing it. We're expanding to fix the enemy. We're all in. I want to play a few clips.
Mayday!
We've had Dr. Drew 5+ years on CNN.
Yeah, this is the only guys that have been able to kill me.
In that crap house.
Oh,
that
not
is
kill me, like take a couple guys
headline
down.
news. And he's not even really a conservative from what I researched, more like a libertarian. He's not really worried about Hillary. She does look bad. And the 2 drugs she's on, Cumin and armored thyroid, counterbalance, and it'll kill you. I mean, what the hell's going on with her doctors? I'd like to talk to Hillary. 3 days later, you're fired. We're paying out your contract. Get out of here. Get your stuff and get out. And all these other doctors. Now, Obama's former doctor. Infowars.com has it. He'll report it as well. Clinton should have neurological exam. The clip we play of 2 weeks ago of her in Nevada, where she's sitting there, and this person just sets up the crowd. Keep talking, you're all right.
Here we are.
If that isn't a bag lady, I don't mean bag ladies, but I mean, she's gone. I don't have a PhD in psychology, but I've talked to folks that do. They go, yeah, she's clearly disassociating, psychotic, doesn't know what frickin' planet she's on, and she's got a handler going, you're all right, continue, and then she twitches into her act. The woman is under judgment. She's cursed. Like, there's a sick part of me hopes she gets in. Because it's only going to let people up. If they're going to put Trump in and blame him for everything and then implode everything, they're already planning it. But they know how slick he is, and he'll be able to deal with it. Ah, man. Justice be done, may they have its fall. I'm trying to get Trump in. But no one should be bored right now. We got front row seats to what could potentially be Armageddon. And guess what? Even if you lie to yourself and think you're in the cheap seats, the nosebleeds, every man, woman, and child, I don't care where you're from or what color your skin is, your blood's red and your soul is on the line. And you're in the arena. That's the big secret. People think they can sit outside things and they're in charge and they can comment. No, everybody's in the arena. So now Obama's former doctor says she needs a neurological exam. This is on CNN. Here it is.
Trump has said, Dr. Steiner, he'll release his medical records if and only if Hillary Clinton releases hers. Now, she did release a 2-page letter from her doctor with real
not her doctor, it's a New York
some of the things you mentioned, cholesterol, things like that. It also talked about
not her year
in December of 2012
surgery,
when she had a concussion and a blood clot in her brain. And in this, the letter says she had follow-up testing in 2013, which revealed complete resolution of the effects of the concussion, as well as total dissolution of the thrombosis. Mrs. Clinton also tested negative for all clotting disorders. Is that enough?
No. There are a number of questions I have. First of all, she's also 68 years old, and I think, while I think that medical letter was well written and was very professional, unlike Dr. Bornstein's, it's not enough. For example, she is on Coumadin, a medication to prevent blood clots.
Rat poison.
And you have to monitor that, and it says that she's being monitored regularly. I'd like to know how well she is being controlled. That's a difficult drug to use. Also, I think she should have had a neurological examination, a thorough neurological examination in 2016. We know what happens to football players who have had concussions, how they begin to lose some of their cognitive ability. I think both of them should release their records.
Which is what Dr. Pachenik said, who, by the way, has been friends with Hillary Clinton. The guy's not a Republican. He says she has to go. Here's the baseball, folks, and this gets serious with medical records and things. Hillary Clinton had a brain tumor removed, is the info. And they think it's growing back 3 years later. She's not long for this world. You want to talk about my black heart all day? Lady, give me a break. I'm ready to stand before God right now. Not in an arrogant way. But I know I love God. I've done bad things and God turned me away. I don't blame God. I think God's going to turn me away. You say, I've got a dark heart, lady. Give me a break. I'm not involved in the murder of hundreds of thousands of Christians like you. All right, we got news reporters calling in. I'm going to skip this network break so we have more time. I'm going to go to Mike in PA first, report for daily newspaper in PA. Then we're going to go to Julio in Illinois. You're on the air. Go ahead, Mike.
Alex, how's it going?
Good, brother. Go ahead.
Great. You know, I go into the office every day and sitting there and just listening to my editors and the other reporters just going off constantly about how much of a warmonger Trump is, how insane he is. I just kind of sit back and laugh to myself as I listen to them talk, kind of keeping some things to myself, but definitely it reaches points where I just start breaking out laughing when they start talking. Lately I've been bringing up some of the health issues, and they just think that I'm making these things up. And I print off articles, mainstream articles, pretty much anything I could find and hand it to them. Like, look, I'm not making this stuff
She's
up.
had a bunch of brain surgery. She's falling down. She doesn't know who she is. In her own WikiLeaks, she wants Parkinson's medication. She's on weird blood thinners and stuff they haven't used in 40 years. Medical doctors are getting fired that talk about it. What do you think's going on with her?
Honestly, I think she is breaking down. I think that she probably does have Parkinson's or something similar to that, and I think she's realizing, and the people around her are realizing, that she doesn't have much time, and they need to do whatever they can to get her in so that they can get the plan continuing down the road, even if she's not around to be a part of it.
That's right. That's what Dr. Pachenik told us today. He's coming on the next few days. The word is they're already preparing Kane. And again, I have guests on that don't make stuff up. I mean, if they say they've got the intel, they've got it. And Hillary is not long for this world. I mean, and I'm not threatening her. The media will say, like, we have this deal where we talk about her campaign's disintegrating. It's like her blowing away. And they go, oh, the news, that's her head being blown off. I don't wish any harm against Hillary. They want me to say that because then they can green light taking me out. That's kind of how this works. Look, if I thought it would save the world for Hillary to have something bad happen to her, then I would be honest about it. I don't want anything physical to happen to her. She's just a front puppet, but a very nasty one. But I do want to see her prosecuted so we can roll up all the foreign assets that are controlling her. But getting back to your newsroom, that's what I see around leftists, is this hype. Have you seen the New York Times, Washington Post? They write articles this week and last week saying, we need to be more unimpartial and more hateful. And so what if we're lying about Trump? He's bad. I mean, I've never imagined I'd see articles from the New York Times calling for more vitriol and lashing the media for not being more hateful. I mean, this is crazy.
I tell you what, though, there's a nutpaper, the Patriot News, which actually won a Pulitzer a few years ago.
No, it is, yes.
Coverage of the Sandusky 10 lines. There's a columnist, John Mysick, that's on there. Every single day, he has an anti-Trump.
We're about to win.
It's like he's the anti-Trump beast. But if you go on the comment section and look at the comments that people are writing, people are not buying it at all. I mean, 10 to 1, it's just saying, this is a total joke.
Oh, I know liberals who are good people who don't like Republicans because of, abortion and wars or whatever. And I get, the war stuff. I hate the Republican establishment. But they're like, yeah, I've never opened the New York Times up and every article is like foaming at the mouth. The Washington Post, CNN, foaming. I mean, they have just totally dropped any pretense of objectivity. And I mean, who knows what's going to happen? Let me ask you this question. When you're talking to all these reporters and writers around you, are they in a bubble? Or do they understand that this has become an incredible spectacle?
Well, here's another thing. The political reporter who sits right across from me the other day, she's like, do you know what the alt-right is? And I just started laughing. And she started watching the Washington Post video that they made of what their quote unquote what the alt-right is. And I said, well, look at these people they're talking about. Nigel Farage, he's not extreme. These people are not extreme.
These are sane people.
Talking about how horrible Breitbart is. You are so every point that she brings up is 100% mainstream leftist talking points that she brings up, and that's what she writes about politically. It's amazing.
Well, that shows how disconnected they are. I mean, when you've got Greenberg and all these other people coming out that are like real liberals, respected guys that expose Bush, and now Obama's doing bad and Hillary is, they're exposing it. These are good liberals. These are the good liberals I grew up around. I mean, I'm a libertarian. I'm not a right-winger guy. The issue is they're so committed to hating Republicans, they'll do anything for the Democrats. I wonder if they're ever going to wake up from their trance. I mean, what did she say when you pointed out, this is WikiLeaks. This was the hero of the left just 6, 7, 8 years ago. Why do you now hate him?
Well, you know, I look back, I was pretty involved with the anti-war movement, going to protests and just looking at these people. And some of these same people I see were in newsrooms being part of the protest. I'm like, where are these people now? Where have they gone? Do you not realize, look at the list of the people who are supporting Hillary. This is something that I brought up the other day. Paul Wolfowitz, Doug Stockheim,
Well,
Michael Chertoff, the right wing of all right wing.
The ultimate warmongers, the ultimate war pigs.
Yeah, and their comeback is, well, Dick Cheney supports Trump, so that's their only comeback. Oh, Dick Cheney supports him.
Well, all I know is this. Trump is an unknown quantity to a certain extent. I'm not going to claim I know he's perfect. But we know what we've got here with Hillary. And the fact that people claim they're anti-establishment, this is the time then to stand up against the establishment. Great points, Mike. Thank you so much. And you can tell that's a real reporter, smart guy, who's sitting here and you know, talking to him. You can tell, probably a classical liberal, you know, a real nice guy that's smart and wants everybody to have freedom. And he's just looking at all these fascist reporters acting completely insane and throwing total objectivity out the window and distorting what Trump says. He's just like, man, this is crazy. This is crazy. Julio, who I know is a radio host, and also newspaper reporter, he's called in for years. Julio, what is your take on all this? Why do you think the Homeland Security is, quote, taking over the election?
Well, just look at the polls, Alex, and I hope you're doing well. Look at the polls of corporate media and how much people distrust corporate media here in the States. It's not a surprise to me to see Homeland Security doing this. Being in Chicago, it's the third largest market in the country behind Los Angeles and New York City. And a lot of these reporters, I've had experience as an intern and then moving back to Chicago recently and working as a radio news reporter for a statewide news agency. A lot of these reporters in Chicago on the TV side are quite comfortable. High salaries, they're worried about pushing the envelope and getting canned by most stations in Chicago are owned and operated by the big networks. They're correct.
And Dr. Drew was the message. It doesn't matter how high your ratings are. You even say you want to help Hillary, you're fired.
Yeah, it's unbelievable to see the bias. I've covered the Republican debate in Vegas back in December. I've covered the Illinois presidential primary.
You were a big detractor of Bush. I protested Bush with you.
It's amazing to see and to talk, converse with some of these reporters, or even hearing them. Mostly I'm silent when I cover some of these events because I like a sponge. I want to absorb everything I hear from sources. It's amazing to hear the bias from some of these reporters, how they're working with their editors, working with their news directors, working with other reporters for opposing news organizations to do what they can to support their particular candidate. In this instance, in the presidential primary, it's Hillary Clinton. And to see...
I was about to say, I've never seen such coordination between media to lie. They get together with the unified BS of the day. It's crazy.
Another reason that is, Alex, is because a lot of these stations, despite them, here in Chicago, in high-rise buildings, beautiful buildings.
Stay there. Come back in 70 seconds, Julio. We'll be back. Stay with us. Let's go to Julio in Illinois, news reporter for a statewide news agency. We'll stop right there. Finish your points, Julio. Very informative. Go ahead.
So a lot of stations in Chicago and throughout the big markets across the country are so dependent on newswire services. I worked at a small radio station in Wyoming, and smaller markets, that's all they can get is newswires.
They're repeaters. They're repeaters. They're repeaters.
They're repeaters, Alex. And so when you have Agency Press, or you have Reuters, or you have Associated Press, or you have even these big markets, Fox, NBC, et cetera, turning out the same types of garbage, the same types of biased reports, they get picked up all over the just based off of the budget constraints by so many of these news organizations, big market, media market, small market, they're all...
And then Drudge comes along, or InfoWars comes along, and listeners send us videos, their own articles. That just creates an alternative, and more radio stations, TV stations are actually tuning into that alternative view. That's why they say, oh, don't go to Drudge or InfoWars. That's discredited, but that doesn't work anymore. So Julio, in 30 seconds, how do they counter that? They shut the web down.
Well, of course, they shut the web down. Stations buy up more and more stations, fire the departments, and then keep churning and burning the same type of garbage. I had an interview with the largest news wiring service in the country recently, and during the interview I talked about, we just started shooting the breeze about the election. I asked, what do you think about this nationalist trend? We see it in France with Marine Le Pen. We see it in Britain, in the UK with Nigel Farage. We're seeing sort of a new dichotomy in politics, and it's happening right here in the States. Sort of happened a little bit with the Tea Party, but it's now flourishing with Donald Trump. And this guy from the largest news wiring service in the country told me to my face, yeah, but here in the States, it's more of the racist far right, and we think that,
That's all they've got. Listen, Julio, I have met you several times. I've seen your work. You've leaked this great info. We ought to talk to you about working for InfoWars. Would you want to move down here to Texas?
I'm in a position now where I can do more independent stuff. Would love to contribute in any way possible. You've seen my work.
Listen, I got your number years ago. We've talked, hung out, DC, you name it, Chicago. But send me your info right now. Give me your number. I'm serious. I'm wanting to hire a few more reporters. I was just thinking, just click. This guy's always done great reports. You're not saying, of course, your full name right now because they'll probably fire you from your job. But we ought to just hire the real reporters. That's what we're trying to do here. Julio, we'll talk to you very, very soon. Give us your info. I'm going to have Rob do call you. And even if you don't move down here, we can have an auxiliary and pay us somewhat of a salary to be up there in Chicago. But Julio's a go-getter. He's a smart guy. We need that guy. That's why I need you to buy the products, the T-shirts. Well, I'm selling those at cost, so I guess not those. The Vitamin Mineral Fusion, 20% off. The great organic mustard seed-based selenium, True Selenium, exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. Super Male Vitality, the Anthroplex, and so many other products because it funds the operation. And you see what we have here is these great reporters and crew and researchers. InfoWarsLife.com. Or call toll-free 888-253-3139. We've got more reporters like JT Coyote, who wrote for the Colorado News. We'll be back. Stay with us. Straight ahead, Dr. Corsi's joining us. Well, Dr. Jerome Corsi is joining us. He is a two-time or three-time #1 New York Times bestseller. And he has the new book out, always definitive, Partners in Crime. If there's somebody writing the reality-based narrative in so many elections, it is Dr. Corsi. They fear this man as much as they probably fear somebody like Matt Drudge. And that's hard company to keep. I don't think there's probably anybody in that fraternity. But Jerome R. Corsi, PhD, really an expert on the economy. I want to ask him just selfishly, separately, about the Germans clearing the store shelves. Government says get ready for civil emergency. That was last Friday, got almost no coverage. That was a government announcement. What's happening with all these Soros emails coming out? Worse than I even thought about the UN taking over the internet. Now it happens next month. I mean, it's like my worst concerns have now been like magnified and are happening. So I'm wondering from Dr. Corsi what he sees coming up next. But Dr. Corsi is an expert on the economy, so we'll also get his take on that. In fact, going over his bio, he's a PhD from Harvard in political science. He is currently a senior staff reporter at WorldNet Daily, where he works as an investigative reporter, WND.com. He's an expert on political violence and terrorism, and worked as a consultant in a lot of clandestine areas. In 81, he received a top-secret clearance for the Agency for International Development, where he assisted in providing anti-terrorism training to embassy personnel. 25 years, beginning in 81, he developed working and banks throughout the United States and around the world to develop financial services marketing companies to assist banks in establishing broker-dealers and insurance subsidiaries to provide financial planning products. So he revolutionized that whole area and services, including working for Trump, I would add, as a consultant, to their retail customers. He is a noted financial services speaker. That's really where he's the most prestigious, not just as a writer. Obviously, the average listener doesn't know that because they're not into banking. And he's published many, many books, many of them New York Times bestsellers. WND.com, Twitter.com/Corsi _ or Jerome Corsi.
Oh, man.
Wow, where to begin? Obviously, the economy, his book, so many fronts, but the clips, I've already played them twice, so I won't play them again, or maybe later. Obama says a month ago, what's election fraud? The feds don't run elections. Well, we know they've been caught, the party in power, before directing voter news services and the media the way the announcements are supposed to go. But now, Homeland Security and Jay Johnson are announcing special executive action to defend the infrastructure and come in and, quote, protect it. And as Roger Stone said a month ago, watch if Homeland Security comes in to protect the machines. Idiots. That's the fix. It's like prophecy. It's happening. So this is simply over the top. And then I have Reuters from last week, where the Organization of Economic Cooperative Development, that's really at the heart of globalism, from the Marshall Plan, it's OSCE, this multinational NATO Interpol group, is going to oversee, with 10 times the people they had last time, 500 monitors, our election. So Obama's gone from the feds aren't involved to bringing foreigners in. I mean, this is so sensational. With George Soros' email saying have the UN run on local police, that it's like I'm a dog in a butcher shop. It proves everything. It's surreal, though. Dr. Corsi, I've thrown a big gestalt out there. Where do we begin? I mean, this is crazy.
Well, I think you're exposing the heart of the corruption that we're facing here, Alex. I mean, to begin with, you don't have an unbiased source when you've got Department of Homeland Security coming in with Jay Johnson to supervise the elections. I mean, it's like saying the IRS is an unbiased source when it won't give out any 501c3s to conservative groups, or that the Department of Justice is unbiased when it won't prosecute Hillary Clinton, even though it's clear that Hillary Clinton is extremely careless with her classified emails as Secretary of State. I mean, this bias of the corrupt Obama administration and the corrupt Clinton administration, I think, is got to be frightening. But, Alex, you've got the globalists scared to death of Donald Trump, and they're running as fast as they can to get to the finish line, to put in global government and to eliminate fundamental freedoms Americans experience under the Constitution as fast as they can.
Let me ask you this. Obviously, you've got a lot of really high-level contacts. When they have no fewer than 20-plus articles last month in The Economist, the Financial Times of London, the Washington Post, the New York Times, the Atlantic Monthly, all the globalist organs saying globalism with Brexit is in deep trouble. If one more domino falls, if Hillary doesn't win, we're done. Red level panic, do anything, get her in. I mean, it seems like they're in a panic. Is that a put on, or why are they acting suddenly so scared?
Well, I think, Alex, globalists are scared. I think finally people are waking up. I mean, you've done a tremendous job of getting the message out.
Well, don't get me. You've done the job really documenting it for decades.
We've all been fighting this battle to get the people of the United States and around the world to realize that one world government is enslavement. It's enslavement by the transnational corporate structure and their power brokers in both the Democratic and Republican Party, to force the United States into a European Union. You're also going to see tremendous articles of pressure about Obama panicking that he's not going to be able to get this trans-Pacific.
That's what they're saying. They admit TPP's in deep doo-doo.
Deep trouble. And, what the Brexit, I think, shows is that despite the elite, despite the Paul Ryan and McConnell's, with the charade of the Republican Party as a conservative party, which at its core it is not, they're worried to death that they're going to lose control over the populations which dare to vote against the Brexit. And we're seeing the same thing now, the drum roll, you know, Trump is going to lose, give up, don't vote. It's all over. Hillary's already won. I mean,
Tokyo Rose stuff.
Exactly, precisely. All propaganda, all aimed at discouraging those of us who know that the populism that's building around the world is a pushback against the enslavement.
So let me ask you this then, as one of the architects of defeating us over 40 years, and as you told us, you know, no, Trump's for real. I've been talking to him for 40 years. He knows everything we know and more. He's obviously anti-New World Order. It's why they're crapping their pants. Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo. I see them losing either way. If they steal it, they lose.
Oh my God, I'm about
authoritarianism won't prop this up in what's left of our open society. Their whole program relies on stealth, as their own documents from BAM Canada that you put out and others put out show. So what do they do? I mean, I don't want to be overconfident here, but it does seem that the tide has really shifted. The tables have turned.
Well, I mean, I expect, you know, a massive, violent kind of effort before this is over. I mean, there's going to be either a war, there'll be an assassination attempt, there'll be some, you know, thing to frighten the American people into thinking the only way we can survive as a nation is if we let the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, and the IRS rule the nation. And they will rule it not for justice. They're going to rule it for the Clinton elite, for the Obama elite, for the elite in the GOP as well. Believe me, these GOP and the Democratic Party are not two parties. They are two wings of the same party. And that's what Donald Trump is, the real deal. I've known Donald Trump. I've talked to him. He truly does believe in America.
I've been on the phone with you before when you had to get off like 10 years ago when Donald Trump was calling you. Like, I gotta go, Donald Trump's calling out. So.
I remember that too. Yeah, that's right. I mean, well, you know, Donald Trump is he's a really sincere guy. If you get to know Donald Trump, as part of what gets him into trouble with the media is
that's where he gets all this energy. He's in the epic battle. He knows. He told me, he said, use the energy. He goes, it's so good. I mean, he just loves it.
Well, and in fact, he dares to say what is on his mind to say, whether it's politically correct or not. And look at the moves he's taking. He's going to go to Mexico. He's daring to now start calling out Hillary and Bill Clinton on the foundation. And I wrote this book because I think the foundation is the Achilles
Let's talk about the book, because you've been writing it over the last year. Now it's here. It's all coming out. The Chinese president, pay to play. I mean, this is incredible. If somebody doesn't indict her, it seems like the sky's the limit, because other people are going to be involved in espionage and say, hey, you did nothing to Hillary.
Well, and I wrote the book to point out that the crime here is not just pay to play, but it's enormous. Enormous is using a foundation for personal gain. And anyone who's contributed $1 to the foundation can go to its state attorney general, and at that state attorney general, file a criminal complaint against the Clinton administration.
And doesn't Trump have standing because he got bullied into giving money to too?
Trump has standing to go to the New York Attorney General. Good luck getting the New York Attorney General to pay any attention. That's the problem. Again, you've got Democratic Party politics wiring the situation.
And if an Attorney General in Texas starts doing the right thing, they indict him.
Precisely. Or any state, any one state can close down the Clinton Foundation internationally, because it can demand until their criminal investigation is finished that the foundation not function to defraud anybody else. And that's a key point. My book, Partners in Crime, showing how the Clintons have used the White House to enrich themselves, which they have. It's been their only job, and they have $100 million each net worth. It can be shut down by ordinary citizens demanding their state attorney generals investigate.
And so people should do it now. And no one loses who does it because it draws attention to it. What do you make then, and we're about to go to break, come back and answer this, but you can start answering it. What do you make by the fact that they have all these other secret bank accounts in the foundation, they don't report out of Canada? I'm sure it's well more than $200 million.
Oh, and also pass-through accounts with secret shell corporations, WJC.
Because that's what you're an expert on, is banking. So when we come back with Dr. Jerome Corsi, we're going to talk about, look, if they brought in $6-7 billion at the foundation and $69 billion in their global initiative, and I mean, we're not talking about $200 million here. These are people that stole George Washington's China. I mean, these are the white trash of the white trash. They are the creme de la creme. They were brought into power by people that wore white, pointy sheethead outfits. I mean, these people are jokes. We have, obviously, David Knight hosting the 4th hour today, Nightly News tonight, 7 o'clock Central. This is a short segment, long segment, coming up here in a moment.
God.
I'm having trouble describing how crazy all this has gotten. I mean, again, the new WikiLeaks, the new DC leaks, Hillary selling access to the Chinese president. I didn't even think of that. She is so amoral. She's just selling anybody. It's all just massive felonies. And Dr. Jerome Corsi is an expert not just on the banking, but on the federal laws. His new book, Partners in Crime, is now on sale at Amazon, you name it. Get it at bookstores. Very important. This book, go to the very, very top. We're going to talk about the book more in the next segment. But continuing, Dr. Corsi, and folks can also follow you there on Twitter. We've got that up on screen for TV viewers. You were interrupted by the break getting into the types of crimes they're committing, all these banking laws. I mean, I've talked to lawyers. If I set up some legal foreign shell corporation and try to put a little bit of money in there to avoid taxes, they'll probably come after me even though I'm following the law. It looks like the Clinton.
God, I thought it was actually gonna crash. This is the first time. Man, I gotta wake up really early and work. Excuse me, work really hard.
I think we agree. The past is over.
Wait, I'm still not done. Almost done. Sorry, fellas. Gotta go to the bathroom really quick. Oh my god, that thing is still hissing. I'm so psyched they've never actually gotten this far. Why is this thing still hissing? Oh my god. I'm like barely touching it. Okay, where am I at? Okay. is this? I know what that did last time. Yes, sir, Bob. Did. So is this guy.
Deutschland ist zerstört worden. Ich weine die zukünftigen Generationen.
Don't you dare turn your back on me. You ran away. I like your city. I will take over it. Now you get there. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, but I need your land. Plus, you're at war with me. You better let you live across the street. Alright, so this one. I'm going to bed, guys. My stomach wants to hurt. I'm just gonna eat a little bit of rice. Turkey. What is this? Cockpit? Stupid barbarians. Great. killed my girlfriend. I killed my girlfriend. Sounds like stories online. Dude, you're still not there? Jeez, Louise, get over here instead. What a deep sea. Man, this guy. I think I'm done with the game now. Who shot me, but your punks didn't finish now. You're gonna feel the wrath of the menace. Man, I hit you up.
I think we agree. The past is over.
Oh, I did actually. Over and over again till I.
إنه أنت.
And it's Nia. What is it you wish to speak to me about? Look, man. I hate to do this to you, but it's over. Get over it. I know I will quit. This? A Russian booster? Do I like get them together or something? Huh. There they go. Jesus Christ, 24.
The world has been convulsed by war. Many great and powerful civilizations have fallen, but you have survived and emerged victorious. The world will long remember your glorious triumph.
Yes! 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 On her Mother Russia, USSR. Wait just a minute. I still wanna do some more damage. The United Russian Soviet Union has emerged victorious. Dude, you know what time it is? Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We have been victorious. I did not do any cheats. It's all there, all recorded for you to watch. I spent lots of endless nights, and I did it out of joy, and I did it because I wanted to learn how to play the game, and I believe I'm getting the hang of all this. I really love this game so much that I'm actually going to be saving up for a new graphic card so I can actually boost up the graphics in this game, and actually I'm actually going to be reconstructing a new PC, but it'll take me a while to get there, you know what I mean, because I've only made what, $38 a day, and that's working about what, 10 hours a day. Yeah, you guys got to take advantage and enjoy exactly where you're at. I mean, I'm not here whining and dining about all of this, but I am telling you this, that I enjoy everything I do out of just love. Why? Because I enjoy each and every one of you being here. We had just witnessed triumphs. With that being said, I'm actually gonna bid you adieu. I feel tired, but I just wanted to see about the future tech. But yeah, I went over it twice already. Wow, more than ever before this human history, we share a common destiny. We master it only if we face it together, and that is why we have the United Nations. I beat all the shit out of it. Trigger victorious for diplomatic victory. President of the UN wins over the additional votes. Well, there's 3 ways I just won. And I won through technology, then territory conquered, and now I was voted. No, we're not gonna shoot the worker. He just didn't know where to go. He's like, oh my god, what's going on? Oh my god, I'm gonna die. No, you're not gonna die. You just won't find any work. You're not gonna die. I still don't know. Okay, it's a booster and a booster. I was really trying to figure that one finish. United Nations. Well, with that, we are actually going to be starting a new one. A new game. Yes, I am that crazy, but we are going to boost up the actual rate. Well, I beat you with dirt. Long live Mother Russia. Look at that. August the 2nd. And we're on September the 1st. A month. See, there you go. I'll do it again. I started this civilization, the Russian Empire, on August the 2nd. Wait, I'm stupid. It's September the 2nd. Duh. I'm just tired. And this one too, look. This one pretty much I am dominating. And they're both at the same era. See? Warlord. Now we're gonna actually start a new one. I don't know which one is going to be. I don't really care, but I do tell you this much. Good night to each and every one of you. And remember, don't take anybody's negativities at all. Not even your own, man. With that, I am going to eat a little something because my tummy is hurting, and I'm going to be enjoying the night. Good night. Gotta get to work. It's Friday. I'm not hype about it. I still gotta work tomorrow, 10 hours. And that's not including today. If I'm able to get up early, probably be working around 12 hours. Minus lunch. 11 hours. I want that video card, and I haven't updated my computer in a while since I'm having the opportunity. I think I'm gonna save up for that. Really save up. Well, hit that like button, drop a comment. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. I sacrifice everything to bring some type of content sometimes. I know it's not the best, but I'm doing my best with what I got, you know. For a cripple to do that, that means I really, really, really love you, man. And I wish everything to be multiplied times 100 that you wish upon me. That being said, good night. As you can tell, extremely tired. I'm actually gonna be buying a new webcam too. Yeah. I want a lot, I know. But it's the video card the GPU that I want first. The one I want, it cost me about 180, 190. And we all know how much the webcam costs on Amazon. About $100, so just gonna wait, save. Probably gonna get it by next month, on October. If everything goes down right, you know what I mean? And I continue to have a job because I don't know how long this job's gonna be. But hey, since you're giving me opportunity to make money, work hard, it's not even working hard, it's just selling insurance. Yes, I'm one of those guys that calls you, but the difference is that the company that I work for, I don't call random numbers. I actually call people that ask to be called, calling you guys. It's all simple number game for these guys. If I'm able to maintain on the positive side, which I have, out of 28 people that were actually hired when I first got hired myself, that was 2 weeks ago now, 28 people. There's only about 5 of us from that group. And so on and so on and so on. And total, there's 80 of them. And from 80 of those, half of them are going to be cut. But since we keep it on the ball game, I'm thinking of quitting in 3 months. Why? Let's just say if you're spiritual, please pray for me, man. Pray for me to have good health, good food. I've been struggling, man. I mean, if you look at my videos, you can tell now I got a haircut. It wasn't like that about 2 weeks ago. About 2 months ago, you can tell I was a little chunky. I've been struggling about money. I've been asking for assistance, but I guess instead of speaking negatively, people have been struggling along with me, and I just want to make sure that I have a job and save up money. I know it's stupid to buy me a GPU, but it's either that. I mean, I've been buying other little things, that's, it's not irrelevant. It's, something that makes you feel good, that, or that struggle. I mean, for example, I know I said don't accept nobody's negativity, not even your own. And I know saying that I've been struggling is negative, but I look at it in the positive way. Yes, I struggle, that's negative, but I want to switch it into the positive. Since I was struggling, I wasn't able to have the proper nourishment, if you may. I was eating, which is not normal, you know what I mean? Just pancakes, and, scrambled eggs, stuff that a teenager would do because he's lazy, and I wasn't lazy. It's just that I didn't have any nourishment, spaghetti, stuff like that, and not with sauce, or meat. No, just plain spaghetti, with a little bit of salt. That's it. But in the positive side, I got back to my normal weight. Look at that. It's getting there. A little bit of exercise at home, it's getting there. Yeah, it's a positive. This shirt, I wasn't able to wear it because I look like, I know I still look kind of funny because it's small, but can you imagine it being a little overweight? Right now, I'm down to exactly the weight that I enjoy being in. Positive. Now, why do I ask you if you can pray for me? Well, it's simple, ladies and gentlemen. If I'm able to maintain this pace, I'm on 2 weeks. I need 10 more weeks. can go and have a bank statement for the last 3 months, or I guess you could say 12 weeks, 3 months, let's just say in months. Bank statement for 3 months. I can go purchase a brand new car, and I have to save every cent. I know, I said I was going to buy a GPU. I didn't say I was going to buy it right away. But I need this bank statement so I can get this car, and this car is going to bring in at least $300 free and clear. And it's going to work itself because I'm going to rent it out. Or if I don't find a good job, which I won't have a problem finding a good job, trust me, I'm actually going to be working it myself. I mean, I prefer to, being smart about it, not being greedy, helping someone else. And I know who's actually going to be the driver for my executive cab that I'm trying to get. That's why, please, send me all your nice thoughts, good thoughts. I mean, it's one thing asking you for a donation, and if you can, man, spare $1, $1. Hey, everything's gonna go into food right now. I got, my payment was not that correct. I only got paid $90 for the whole week, which I should have been, more. I asked, and they said they were gonna look into it. I hope I still get an extra $40. I hope. I know I shouldn't have actually whined about it because they're going to be now looking at me really closely. I don't really need any problems. Please send me prayer for me to have that strength. Because I need that card. Not to get around, no. To have another entry. Another way of making money. And then if I have that car, that work itself, it's going to pay for that car. And I'm just going to have a 3-year-old car. I mean, I'm probably going to use it in the weekend when I go to church and stuff like that and go shopping. That's about it, But please, send me a prayer, good thoughts, a thumbs up, a like, subscription, anything. I should have been asleep since 11:30. That was 2 hours ago. But here I am. Why? Because I get all that stress out of work. 2, I enjoy video games. And 3, man, do I really need to say it again, man? I really, really enjoy entertaining you guys. Well, I'm off. I would like to have a bite to eat because my stomach's hurting, but I don't have anything. I still gotta go shopping for the stuff, and I'm hoping I'm actually gonna be doing it this Saturday. I mean, I still got food, but I can't eat right now because go to bed. So should you. Good night.